All right, are we good? Are we live? I think we are. Hello all and welcome back to the Women's Football Chat Live. The WSL action continues tonight as we watch Chelsea face Crystal Palace at Kings Meadow. It should be a very exciting game tonight. Chelsea looking to move back to 6 points clear after Arsenal beat Leicester last week. And now with Crystal Palace, well, a win is almost pivotal for them tonight to stay in the league, Harry.
Yeah, it's now or never. If you are a Crystal Palace fan, you're associated with Crystal Palace, 4 games to go, including this evening. They have to win 3 of them at least if they want to stay in the division. So it is now or never if they fail to win tonight, and that it looks all but confirmed they will be relegated. For Chelsea, they've got 4 games remaining. They're only 2 wins away from confirming the WSL title for another season. So it will be business as usual for the Blues. They'll be looking to bounce back after a disappointing result on Sunday, but a big game for both sides at the top and the bottom of the table. A lot can be decided in this football match. If Chelsea win it, then both sides look nailed on to stay where they are as champions as getting relegated. If Crystal Palace pull something off, then suddenly Palace are right back in the fight to stay in the league, and Chelsea's position at the title would look a little bit at the top would look a little bit precarious.
Indeed, I think obviously Chelsea's focus won't be on today's game. It'll be on Sunday and how they can pull off a remontada against Barcelona. But I think tonight is a chance for Bonpasteur's side to restate and re-show where the standard is, because the standard wasn't there on Sunday, and I think it's been slipping for a few weeks now. I think this is a chance now where the team talk after the match on Sunday would have been a harsh one because the performance wasn't good enough. And I think looking ahead, therefore, looking towards tonight's game and looking at Sunday, I think it'll be a very similar message of we need to improve, and I want to see that against Palace and I want to see that against Barcelona. That will be the message from Bonpasteur, and it's on Chelsea's players now to live up to that. Chelsea, of course, with a bit of a rotated side tonight. So let's have a look at who is actually playing for Chelsea this evening. As I say, slight rotation from the side that took on Barcelona at the Estadio Johan Cruyff on Sunday. We're, of course, at Kings Meadow tonight, so let's start with the hosts, Chelsea. It's a 4-2-3-1 for Bonpasteur's Blues. In goal, Hannah Hampton keeps her spot in between the sticks. A back 4 of Lawrence, Germer, Bright and Charles. In the pivot is Jean-Francois and Nusken. Across the 3, Beaver Jones, Wrighton, and Baltimore. And leading the line, Katerina Macario. So only 3 players in there keeping their spot from the side. 4 players in there keeping their spot from the side on Sunday. That makes sense, though.
Yeah, it makes sense. As you say, Sonia wants to see a reaction, and she started that off by changing up this 11, and it's exactly what we wanted to see, exactly what we expected to see. Chelsea getting players back on the grass like Naomi Gemma, like Guro Wrighton, bringing Neve Charles back in, pushing Baltimore on. There's a lot of changes. It's exactly what we thought was going to happen, and Bonpasteur and Chelsea will be hoping that change in personnel is what they need to see a better performance, to see a reaction. But I think overall it's a really good side. I think you're bringing back in a lot of experienced players who will be looking to get the job done today and looking to prove that Chelsea can still play at that highest level, because it's quite good to see, to be fair. There's quite a few players involved that we haven't really seen in the last couple of weeks or have been reduced to squad players. So good for them to get a start, and I think a good opportunity for the 11 out there in Chelsea Blue to put out a bit of a statement.
Yeah, a lot of players coming back from injuries, getting some minutes in this game. It's going to be important. And yeah, opportunities for players who, as you say, haven't perhaps had those minutes. And it's nice for those players to get a chance now as Sonia's looking to rest others. I do think it's interesting to see. I understand why it's Bright and Germer in there, but because of the injuries, I mean, Natalie Bjorn came off injured on Sunday. Melissa Pomey, I don't think is quite back yet. So that is a shame to have to see Bright play again, because I think the biggest thing that I took away from that game, we will be analysing it tomorrow, so look out for our Chelsea-Barcelona analysis, but the biggest thing was that Bright looked lethargic. I think a lot of players in the Chelsea team looked really lethargic. It's great to see Lucy Bronze get a rest today for the first time, what feels like forever, especially considering she played a lot of minutes with England as well. But yeah, it's still players like Bright having to be involved, like Baltimore, of course. Beaver Jones has played a lot of minutes lately, which I think is actually really good for her. She hasn't really had a run on the side up until this point, but there are a lot of players who have had to play a lot of minutes recently. It's good to see some players get involved in this game.
Yeah.
And let's have a look then at the visitors, Crystal Palace. It's like a 4-3-3 on FootMob, but whether or not it will end up looking like that, we'll have to see. In goal, it's Shea Yanez. At fullback, it is Molly Sharp, then Swaby, Gelge and Woodham. Midfield 3 of Nolan, Kato and Arthur, and a front line of Weirden, Stengel and Larissy. This could look more like a 5-3-2, I think, for Palace, with Weirden playing that wing-back role, but it could also look like a 4-3-3. It'll be interesting to see what Palace do tonight, but it very much feels like, while it is an incredibly important game if they want to stay up, this is a very important game, it does feel, in a sense, a free hit for Palace tonight.
Yeah, I think so, but I think they'll back themselves. We saw that they played Chelsea in the FA Cup. I think it was Smerod's second game in charge, and they took Chelsea all the way before a Lauren James winner in the last 20 minutes got Chelsea across the line in that game. But they played quite well, I thought. I think they were a lot braver than Chelsea anticipated, and they caused a lot of problems for the Blues. And they'll look to do a similar thing tonight, based on the setup, based on the players that are in the 11. They're going to try and cause Chelsea issues and try and hit Chelsea when they least expect it. That's exactly what Palace have got to do tonight. They realistically have to take at least a point, and that is a very difficult position to be in when you're going up against one of the best teams in the league, the reigning champions. But they've got to believe they can get something. I think it's a decent way of setting up. They proved that it potentially can pay off when they played Chelsea earlier on the season. I think they're gonna have to hope they can call upon their biggest players, their better players. I think that Stengel was been a bit hit and miss this season, but 3 goals, 4 assists. Hopefully that she can find something for Palace. I think Mai Kato's probably been their best player of the season, has done very well in midfield or wherever she's played. I think Larisse's a big one. 6 appearances in now to her Palace career, still no goals. She'll be looking to get on the scoreline tonight. So they've got players who can make a difference. They've got players who can hurt Chelsea. It's just about getting those players on the ball, getting them on the ball in the right positions, while also managing to limit Chelsea and to stop this very, very good Chelsea side from causing issues in the Palace area.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, ask what channel we're on. It's on BBC 3 if you're in the UK. So you've got to scroll through your TV guide. Philly says, evening all, good to see you, Phil. And Jason says, I like how different Chelsea are lining up right now, but I'm still nervous. I don't think nerves is the way to describe it, but each their own. I think there's a bit of an overreaction from the game on Sunday. Chelsea realistically shouldn't have any problems tonight.
No, they shouldn't, but on paper it's very easy to say that, but when you've got a Chelsea side who are coming into this off the back of a really difficult loss, when they know there's the pressure on in the title race, and you're welcoming a Crystal Palace side who know that they have to, now is the time to deliver, if not they're going to get relegated, it does throw a bit of a spanner in the works. But with the experience Chelsea have, with the strength in depth, with the quality in the starting 11, you would expect this to be no issue for the Blues. But let's see what happens. We didn't think that the likes of West Ham and Leicester would be issues, and then they ended up causing Chelsea trouble. Yes, those squads are probably probably a bit better than the Crystal Palace squad, but football's football at the end of the day, and that's the way Crystal Palace got to look at it. But as you say, Chelsea, they will look at it as business as usual, get the result across the line, get yourself to that 6-point margin. If they win tonight, they know they're 3 points away from winning the title, and that is a massive position to be in. So there's a lot riding on tonight, and with the strength they've got, you'd expect them to cruise through it. But I think that for Chelsea, not only is it about the result tonight, it's also about the performance. I think they owe the fans a good performance. They beat this Palace side 7-0 earlier this season, and yes, I do think that Palace have got a lot better since then. I don't think Chelsea are going to absolutely smash them today, but the fans, and I think everyone around Chelsea would love to see a very, very convincing victory. No scary moments at the back. A convincing, clean performance with barely any mistakes, and a bit of motivation going into this Sunday in the hope to turn things around. But Chelsea, they've got to get the job done tonight.
Yeah, fair enough. 5 games in for Leif Smerid, 1 win and 4 losses in that time. It's not the most incredible record, but do you think he's done enough to warrant keeping that position for next season?
Yeah, I think he's done very, very well, to be fair to him. As you say, they've only won 1 game, but that was the game against Aston Villa. Smerid has come in, and they've won the games they were meant to win.
Well, for reference, the games lost were Manchester United away, Liverpool at home, Everton away, and Arsenal at home.
And they weren't, I wouldn't say they were the biggest one was Arsenal 4-0. That's not, but based on the way they were getting absolutely hammered in the first half of the season, I think Smerid's done very, very well. They've played 4 difficult opposition, lost to them all, and they only lost to Chelsea by a goal margin. They only lost to Liverpool by a goal margin. They lost to United only by 2 goals, and they won the game against the opposition that was closest to them. I'm not sure there was much more Leif Smerid could have done. And I do think that if he'd been in charge at the start of the season, would they have done better? Potentially so, because they're being braver, and I think that has massively helped them in the last few games that Smear's been in charge of. Is they've been braver. They haven't played, sat in a 5-4-1 and just prayed they aren't going to concede. They haven't been torn apart. There's been a lot more confidence in themselves, and there's been a lot more belief that they can go out there and take the game to oppositions. And I think the Liverpool game, especially on another day, they get a result from that. So I think Spurs done very, very well. I think he 100% deserves the job next season. If they play this kind of football a little bit more positively, they'll absolutely not walk the championship, but they'll be in a very good position to come back up. But I feel for him because I think he's done a very good job, but just hasn't had enough time and hasn't had enough decent games. Because if Smearad was in charge,
Do you think they made that decision too late?
Potentially, because if you give Smearad the likes of a Leicester or a West Ham or an Everton, there's a chance he would have got a result. But the fact that you've thrown him into the deep end against loads of big opposition, and the one weaker side they played they beat, for me that proves that if he'd been given a longer spell, if they'd sacked Kaminsky sooner, potentially it'd be a different story. But
the problem is I see very few games, because even if you say, oh, what if they'd done it over the winter break? They wouldn't have beaten Arsenal. They wouldn't have beaten. They might have beaten Tottenham. They're awful at the moment.
They should have beat Tottenham.
They really should have in that game. But what 3 points? I think Palace. It was always a bit of a lost cause from the start of this season. They've fought well in some games, but ultimately the investment just hasn't been there.
It hasn't, but I do think that if he was in sooner, they'd have played under him for longer, and I think they would have got more results. I really do. They'd have turned those losses into the draws. They'd have turned those draws into wins. But it's one of those where we'll never know, and that's a shame for Smearad and Palace, because I think there's been a lot of promise under his reign so far.
Yeah, indeed. Well, let's get into some predictions then, because the players are taking to the field. Both Chelsea and Palace out on the pitch. So let's talk predictions. Get involved in the live chat if you're watching along. Give us your prediction. We're going to start here in the studio. I'm going to start with yourself, Harry. What is your prediction for today's game?
I think Chelsea will bounce back in style here. I think that Palace will put up a good fight, but it won't be good enough to stop the champions. I'll go 4-0 Chelsea. I think it'll be a really good win, a much-needed confidence booster, and I will go for goals from Guro Reiten, Kat Macario, Shokanuskan, and Aggie Beaver-Jones.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know what BBC think is happening. If Niamh Charles in the 10 tonight, we're in for one hell of a game. So that could be fun. In terms of my prediction, I'm going to one-up you. I think Chelsea need a big result tonight. So I'm going to say Chelsea 5, Palace 0. I'm going to go for a Beaver-Jones hat-trick, because she's been very good this season. That would take her deservedly to Chelsea's top goal scorer in the league. And I will say a goal for Naomi Girma, because I think that would be really well to endear herself with the Chelsea fans. And I'll say Niamh Charles as well, returning at left-back.
Yeah, decent. I think Chelsea will look to score quite a few and put this game really out of sight.
Yeah, fair enough. Maria says you expect Bright to play a full 90 if Girma still isn't 100% for 90. Well, I don't really see who else comes in, because there's no way, surely, that Bjorn gets on tonight after we saw her come off at the weekend. In fact, not even named as part of the squad.
No.
And I'm not sure on the fitness of Melis and Pomé. So, potentially, they're both in to play 90 minutes.
I would hope, and I think we will see in Pomé at some point, even if it's 15.
Hopefully it's for Bright, though, and not for Girma. We need to get 90 minutes out of Naomi Girma here, because she's not played a whole lot of football.
No.
I know she's just come back from injury, but she did have a 16-minute cameo against Barcelona. I think she can come in today and play that full 90. Obviously, we don't know what she's been doing in training. We don't know how her injury's been progressing. So, yeah, it's impossible for us to say without that knowledge. But I think it'd be nice to see her come in and get a good 90 minutes today, or at a minimum, get her to that hour mark. Because we haven't seen her play more than 45 minutes for Chelsea.
Which is something Chelsea's going to be careful of, because if Natalie Bjorn isn't ready for this Sunday, then Girma's going to have to play. And that
potentially that is a reason then to rest Naomi Girma if she's not 100%. Jason says, thoughts on Sam Kerr possibly not making an appearance this season? It's worrying, because ACL injuries, while they do differ from player to player, don't take 15 months. So it's been a very long spell on the sideline already for Sam Kerr. And if she doesn't feature before the end of this season, when we get back around to September, it'll be 21 months since picking up that initial ACL injury.
Yeah, it'll be something around that. But I think that the one thing I do understand from it is that at the end of the day, Chelsea are going to have to work very hard if they want to stay in the Champions League. if they win tonight, they've got the league all but wrapped up, and the only big game in there that she'd then be missing will be the FA Cup final. So it's a case of, I think it'd be good to see her get minutes, but there's no point rushing her back. There's no point risking anything if she's just not ready.
It's not really a rush though anymore.
Well, it might be. We don't know where she is with her fitness.
All right, it'll be Chelsea to get us underway tonight. Both sets of players taking a knee and a stand against all forms of discrimination ahead of kick-off here at Kings Meadow. And it will be Beaver Jones from the middle upon the referee's whistle, which will sound shortly to signal the start of this game. Referee blows a whistle. Beaver Jones knocks it back, and we're underway here at Kings Meadow. Chelsea versus Crystal Palace, this WSL Matchweek 19 fixture. Chelsea looking to get back to winning ways after a disappointing loss away at Barcelona last Sunday. And Chelsea moving the ball around the back now. Hampton finds Charles. Charles not starting in the 10, by the way. Here's Bright. Now Germer.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to see how Guru Wrighton gets on in the 10. I think it's a position we saw her used in at the start of the campaign. I don't think she played, it's her best role, and I don't think she was brilliant, but let's see what she can do today.
Quite interestingly as well, it's Macario on the right, Beaver Jones through the middle then. Now, I'd expect that to be the other way around.
Yes.
It does feel like, with Kat Macario, it feels like a Christopher Nkunku situation. I'm not sure that Bonpasto knows the best position for Macario.
Yeah, but I think it's because you've got Baltimore on the right-hand side. So I think Kat's in the 10 and Guru Wrighton's out on the left-hand side. Because Baltimore's out on this right-hand side. I think this is I don't know what, Chelsea, yeah. So
Okay, it's Kat in the 10.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
That does add up, because I don't think Guru played very well in the 10 at the start of the season. So her back on the left adds up. Sonia Baltimore on the right wing, though. Yeah. Not sure.
She is right-footed.
Yeah. More of a touchline winger, I suppose, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, that is how Chelsea like that right-hand side to be a more touchline winger. It tends to be Carnareed. Is that potentially something that they're looking at having another option? Because I think looking at that Chelsea attack on Sunday, nobody covered themselves in glory, but I think Carnareed is the one that struggled the most out of the three to have any impact on the game.
Yeah, I suppose.
Also, looking to take on the fullback Woodham. Comes off Woodham and out now for a Chelsea corner.
You might as well, though. When you're coming off a tough loss and you're playing against a weaker opposition, it's a good time to try something different. And you know, it's not try something different in terms of you rip up the whole tactic and play, but to make those little tweaks and see if they pay off. You know, it's a good time to do that.
Indeed. So, Guru Wrighton from this corner. Looking to find somebody in the box here. We know the prowess Chelsea have from these aerial deliveries in towards the back post. Germer can't quite meet it. It's going to drop now for Sioka Nusken. Now a pass back to Orient Jean-Francois.
Good to see Cuthbert and Walsh both get a rest as well tonight.
Lawrence plays it across. Header flicked on there looking for Guru Wrighton. Really good defending from Swaby. And now knocks out of play for a throw.
Yeah, good defending that, well read, because Wrighton was lurking over her shoulder. Well dealt with by Swaby. And already been again though, Chelsea are already putting that pressure on the back line. Yeah. And they're doing well just to get that ball over the top and make Crystal Palace think. We've seen, I think, Crystal Palace's one of their biggest problems this season has been that they're defending in their own penalty area. They've let themselves down massively, failing to clear the ball, failing to deal with it.
Indeed, Guru Wrighton, nice driving down the left-hand side, is caught in there. And Sharp is surprised, but I'm not really sure why. Definitely caught Guru Wrighton there.
Yeah, it's a really poor tackle. It just gets it all wrong. Just dives in on Guru. So Guru keeps it on the line, shimmies past her, and then just gets taken out. So I'm not really sure what the complaint...
Completely missed the ball there and takes out the player.
Guru Wrighton has just come back from an injury. No one's going to want to see her being lumped into inside the first 4 minutes.
And this ball will be delivered by Kat Macario then. Again, options queuing up in the box. Kat not happy with where she was asked to take the free kick, so she's moved it herself. Now she'll look to deliver. Ball into the box. Nice ball. Headed away. It's still in there. Chance for Germer's going to drop in there. For Charles, lays it to Guru, now lays it for Jean-Francois, and that's not far away. but just over the bar, much to the delight of the Palace fans behind the goal.
Yeah, really good stuff from Chelsea. And they'll feel like they should have punished this, but this is exactly what I'm talking about. Crystal Palace, box defending is all over the place. You've got goalkeepers, you've got the goalkeeper scrambling around, her defenders are taking it away from her, and they just failed to clear the ball, and Chelsea rework it quite well, and Jean-Francois does the right thing there, trying to go over the bodies into the top corner.
Charles apologises there, and rightfully so. If she just lays that down nicer for Guro Wrighton, that's probably 1-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, but good stuff for Chelsea, but already showing the problems that Crystal Palace have kind of faced all season and what's let them down all season.
Indeed, they win that midfield battle though. Bright with a crucial intervention. Ball's flicked on looking for Sandy Baltimore. Swaby sends it up in the other direction. Lawrence now manages to force Stengel into heading that out of play.
Yeah,
apparently not. Even the Palace players there.
Yeah.
Even Stengel goes, no, that's a Chelsea throw. Referee disagrees.
That's another weird one.
Ball going through the lines. Great tackle from Bright to win that ball back and stop Clarissa Larissy running through on goal. Germer, Lawrence, Jean-Francois, lovely combination play. And Chelsea now will look to break on this left-hand side. Charles. Now Jean-Francois. Here's Germer. The player over her shoulder, carries it well. Now Lawrence tries to play that too quickly through the lines. It's put out of play though by Nolan. And we've got a drone cam tonight at BBC.
Love it, angle. What a tackle that is though from Millie Bright to stop Larissy getting on the end of it. Larissy definitely felt the force of that challenge, but that's good from Cat Macario.
Break into the box, slightly overhit there by Cat Macario. And now they look to play quickly. Stengel, that's a good intervention from Naomi Germer. Lawrence, back to Germer. Brings it under her control nicely. Now looking for options, goes back to Hampton.
Chelsea have started very positively. You can tell they can't tonight with a point to prove.
Yeah. It's exactly the sort of game that certain players, I think, out there needed.
Yeah.
It's the sort of game where I hope to see a few goals, or at least a goal from Cat Macario. It's the sort of game where you'd hope Naomi Germer wouldn't have many issues to deal with and could just get a solid game of football in a Chelsea shirt under her belt.
Yeah, exactly that. You know, she can play quite high. She can get on the ball, help Chelsea with that control. Just have 90 minutes where she gets used to just playing with her new teammates. So it does take time sometimes.
Indeed.
It's a good long throw. Flicks to the corner for Guro. Put it across the box. Oh, well dealt with. Really good defending.
In there for Beaver Jones, who's trying to poke a chance. Macario, that one's charged down well by the Palace defenders. And out now for a Chelsea throw on this near side.
Really good piece of defending initially in there from, I think it was Woodham, got across and denied Baltimore. Lovely football from Chelsea down the left-hand side. Wrighton cuts it back across the box, and it's a big intervention there. Or does Baltimore might actually kick it backwards herself?
Possibly, yeah.
But overall, again, Palace failing to clear the ball, and it's last-ditch blocks. It's players just throwing themselves in front of the ball to make up for the fact that they're struggling to clear it.
Right. Carries it forwards. Here's Neve Charles. Now Wrighton. Nuskin. Back down the line towards Guro Wrighton. Nice football from Chelsea. It's into the box now. Going to drop for Baltimore. Taken away from her with a really good header from Woodham. Macario recycles it to Sandy Baltimore, who will look to take on Lily Woodham again. Nice from Baltimore. Tricky feet. Ball delivered into the box, but it's Sharp who wins the header. Knocks it all the way to Chelsea's centre half. Germer. Now Millie Bright. Looking for options. It's a lovely diagonal ball. Looking to pick out Sandy Baltimore on this right-hand side. Just seen a lot of the ball in these early stages. Baltimore wants to take on Woodham again. Tries to go to Lawrence. Lawrence, though, didn't really create the angle for that pass. Didn't really offer the support that Baltimore needed in there. And it does go out of play for a Crystal Palace throw.
Chelsea looking very, very dangerous, though. Guro Wrighton down that left-hand side is causing all sorts of problems for Sharp.
At the moment, they're just struggling to break down Palace. Palace flooding the box with players. That was a one where if the Palace player had caught Beaver Jones, because she was nowhere near the ball, that was a really good intervention from Lily Woodham to deny Sandy Baltimore. But this would have been a penalty after going in rashly. She's likely to have caught nothing.
And again, they failed to deal with it, and Macario's shot gets charged down, but Palace already struggling a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good intervention from Jean-Francois. Beaver Jones into score, plays it across. Guro Wrighton would have touched it home, but it is offside. You could see Beaver Jones, I think, was offside there from before the move even started.
Yeah, very much so. Just too eagerly. Palace do well. They lose the ball, but they remain high. They don't drop. Actually, no, she's onside. Never mind.
No, I think she is slightly off, to be fair.
No,
It's a tight one, though. It's much tighter than it initially looked, to be fair to Beaver Jones.
yeah. I think it looked off when you actually watch it in real time. When you pause it there, it's a lot closer.
If the angle that you watch it from, if you watch it from behind, from the TV camera, it looks off. When you watch it from the side, actually, it looks onside there. Which is the angle the lino would have had. But there you go. And Stengel unable to keep that in play. Chelsea thrown again on this near side.
But again, Chelsea causing the issue, winning the ball at heart of the pitch, getting that ball in behind. It's going to work at some point today.
Quite a few different cameras from BBC tonight, by the way.
That's lovely.
Got to give them praise.
I want to see more of the overview, the drone.
I want to see more of the drone, yeah. Big fan of that. I don't know if it's a camera they've just attached to the roof and it looks like a drone because the footage isn't phenomenal, or whether it is a drone. We'll find out shortly. Keep you up to date.
We see it crashing down the football pitch.
Oh, no. Germa. Lawrence. That's a great ball in behind. I'm not sure how intentional the pass was to Beaver Jones, but it's played into Beaver Jones. Looking to take on the defender. Needs support now. Here's Sondi Baltimore, who will put it in towards Skuro Wrighton, who knocks it down to Nusken. It's blocked up and over the goal, and that will be a Chelsea corner again.
What a touch that is from Swaby, but again, really good football from Chelsea. I think it's a bit of an accidental through ball from Ashley Lawrence, but it turned out to be a brilliant one. Beaver Jones just slows it down a bit too much, but does well to work it back to Baltimore. It was a good ball in. Guro hang on, we'll cut back in.
And that one's blocked. And that will spill out to Ashley Weirden, who will look to take on Baltimore. Baltimore does well to recover it. And then Guro sends out the line. Here is Molly Sharp. And that's blocked there by Macario. They just can't get rid of the ball, Palace, at the moment. Here is Mike Carter, though, and they'll look to spread the play. Stengel. Carrying it forwards well. Wants to take on Lawrence here. Nice drive from Stengel. Poke around the corner from Larissy. That'll be a tough ask for Carto to get there, though. But New asks, is that Chelsea Barca review coming? It is out tomorrow, hopefully.
New can't wait.
But yeah. I'll be recording that in the morning. Should be out 10 o'clock, provided I get up on time. Here is Brian.
But Chelsea doing well, because I think in the FA Cup game here at Kings Meadow, it was a big question of if Chelsea score rather than when. Watching this first 12 minutes, it is very much a Chelsea will score at some point in this football match.
Bailey reminding us it's Swaby and not Suave. One day I'll remember that. Here's Lawrence. Back now to Naomi Germa. Now Hampton.
I do think Chelsea...
Again, it's a lovely draw pass looking for the run of Neve Charles. Weirden will bring it down in there. Nusken does well to compete with her, but that is out for a Palace throw.
I think Chelsea were likely to have scored by now. They think they were disappointed, but yeah, that's a great block. Great block to deny Nusken. Again, another one where Palace just getting bodies in front of shots and somehow managing to keep them from going towards their own net. But they can't keep that up for 90 minutes.
Indeed. That's really good from Millie. Right, launching that in the other direction, looking to find Beaver Jones, who just about gets it under her control, tries to spin, caught in the challenge, but it was a fair one. And now it's with Swaby. Pass across into Woodham. Now we'll go back to goalkeeper Yanez. And the press from Beaver Jones forcing it back to Swaby. And Chelsea now will put pressure on this side. Good interception, good intervention from Lawrence. Now finds Baltimore, Jean-Francois. Into Nusken. Nusken finds Beaver Jones looking to turn. No space for a turn in there, though. Good defending from Swaby. Chelsea now coming forwards. Guro right and out to the left back. Neve Charles pokes one forward. Nusken to right and takes aim across goal. And almost poked in her own net there by Lily Woodham, who just panicked. And I like how she tells everyone else to calm down there, because it felt like it was her who panicked.
Yeah, I think she does well, to be fair. Her main name's a turn away from Baltimore, but it's lovely football from Chelsea. Nusken just sets it into the path of Guro Wrighton, who would have probably liked to do better, whether it's a shot or a cross. I think it's
a cross between two minds there.
Yeah, but then it's Woodham again, just deals with it, no nonsense, stops Baltimore getting there. Another Chelsea corner, though, keeping this pressure on.
Not a bad ball at all. That aim to be headed towards goal. It's going to spill out to the edge here. Here's Jean-Francois. Now Macario. will play it to Lawrence. Now back to Macario. And now here is Bright. Baltimore. Bright again. Short of passing options forwards, does now find Charles. Now into Sondi. Baltimore, who deliver it on her left foot. Beaver Jones can't quite get there, and Woodham now will look to drive it out for Crystal Palace. Great run from Lily Woodham. Needs a forward pass here. Tries to play it through the lines. Picked off by Millie Bright. And now Chelsea will look to play out again. Charles back to her goalkeeper.
Woodham need to put more on that great drive to burst through the lines, but just need to put that pass in front of the onrushing Palace attacker. But I think Woodham started well. She defended superbly. And there, that showing that attacking attempt from Palace is that when they do get an opportunity to turn it over and come forwards, they're going to try and take it.
Indeed, Charles. Now Guro Wrighton slots it through looking for Beaver Jones. That is a good intervention. Blocked there by Charles. And out for a Palace goal kick. Armat says, hello, I'm really disappointed from Chelsea in the first leg. Hope them doing a great comeback on Sunday. And even if they went to penalties, I'll take it. Let's go Blues. Love the sentiment of that message. I love the belief that we can turn the result around on Sunday. And I'll be believing until the last possible second. Sat in the shed lower on Sunday. So yeah, should be good. I believe in Chelsea, of course. You've got to believe. Hopefully the Chelsea fans can make the difference, can create an atmosphere at the bridge. And get some derogatory chants going aimed at Barcelona centre-backs. Ball played through the lines, looking for Ashley Weird, and good dealing from Niamh Charles. Jean-Francois. Now Naomi Girma. Into Macario. Back to Girma. Bright finds Charles. Into Nuskin. Guro Wrighton. Now back again to Charles. Phil says, long day for Palace, even if they can't capitalise on these breakaway opportunities. Yeah, they're just too deep, really, to even try and break away. Because they're leaving one forward, and Chelsea often leave three back. So it's not really an outlet in there. That comes off Woodham and will be a Chelsea corner, even if Lily Woodham doesn't think it should be.
I think Woodham stopped 95% of Chelsea's threats so far. They had a brilliant game on this left-hand side, but Chelsea really moving the ball nicely. There's an urgency about it. There's a point about it.
Yeah, you do either have your best or your worst game of the season when you face Chelsea.
Yeah. So credit to Woodham. I think Guro Wrighton for Chelsea's made a massive difference tonight. Just looks so sharp, looks so like a player who also has a point to prove. I think someone that a lot of people sleep on a little bit, especially with the fact that we haven't seen her for the last couple of months. But I think Guro Wrighton, she looks to be back, and looks to be hoping to come back with a bang.
Hopefully so. News says, I think an unsung hero that's missing for Chelsea is Carter. She was key against Barca. I think Carter would have struggled on Sunday the same way that Bronze did. And the same way that Chelsea's centre-halves did. I think she was off the pace and had been for a while. The reason she worked in last year's game was because Chelsea set up really defensively. And so it wasn't such a high line. The problem for them on Sunday was that it was a high line. There was space to exploit. And Bronze forgot everything that she'd learnt in the first half of the season about defending. Which doesn't help.
I tell you what, you have to give credit to Crystal Palace because
almost 20 minutes played. Yeah?
They should really be 1-0 down, or at least 1-0 down. They've been under a lot of pressure. Chelsea are all over them.
Credit to their back four at least.
Yeah, but the key thing is it's 0-0, so they can't complain. They're doing okay at the moment to limit Chelsea, but if it wasn't for some big defensive blocks in there, if it wasn't for Woodham making some vital interceptions, then Chelsea would have scored by now.
Well, let's not forget these two sides met in the FA Cup quarter-finals, and it was only 1-0 in that game. Lauren James coming up with a decisive goal. Yeah, I mean, I think Chelsea will be keen to ensure it's a bit more comfortable this evening.
Palace got a lot more solid in that game. They defended a lot better.
Macario.
This game, they feel more open.
That was a fizzed ball towards Baltimore and can't quite get it under.
Yeah. Beaver Jones just put a lot behind that reverse pull.
Yeah. First, I'm a huge fan of Lucy Bronze, have been for years, but I think in massive games she tries to do too much and it gets detrimental at times. I think she lets the occasion get to her quite often. But then again, I thought in the Manchester City game at Stamford Bridge, she was really good. So it just depends what you get, because she was brilliant defensively on that day. And Chelsea didn't set up to try and, be the in-possession side, which I think they tried to do a bit too much against Barca, and it didn't work. I think Kira Walsh probably had her worst game in a very long time. But it does bring into question why that signing was ever made. So I think with Nuskin in there on Sunday, we'd have looked better. Here is Baltimore up against Lily Woodham. Not really the space to deliver the ball. Now Germer. Bright. Here's Jean-Francois. Macario. Plays it across to Nuskin. Now here's Guro Wrighton. That's blocked. And Chelsea players calling for handball there. And the penalty has been given.
Yeah.
Couldn't really see it in real time. And the camera angle was appalling there to see if the ref had given the penalty. But she has given a pen here. Much the frustration of Molly Sharp.
We'll have a look. I think it didn't. It was one of those ones. It's easy to see when you slow it down. Wrighton puts the ball in. Oh, yes.
What is Sharp's frustration tonight? She booted Guro Wrighton, was frustrated that it was given a free kick. And she's got her arm out. Can't even see it on screen. That's how far out it is.
Yeah.
She's got her arm out that far. And it's hit her. And she's surprised it's a penalty.
Stonewall penalty. You can't defend that. She's had a really, really poor game so far. Yeah. Couple free kicks, really sloppy in possession, giving the ball away in high areas, and has now given away a penalty and given Guro Wrighton the opportunity to come back with a bang.
And well, you be a very brave man to bet against Guro Wrighton from 12 yards. An outstanding record Wrighton has from the penalty spot. And she'll step up once again for Chelsea here, waiting for the referee's confirmation that she can actually take this penalty. And now she will step back and step up. And that really should have been saved. Not one of her finest efforts, but it's Chelsea 1, Crystal Palace 0. Not a convincing penalty. Shea Yanez palms it into her own net, really, but it is Chelsea 1, Palace 0 regardless.
Wow. I mean, when you're struggling against the best side in the league after 20 minutes, you give away a penalty, you think that's bad. When your goalkeeper does her best effort to let it in, how has Yanez not saved that? It's a massive let-off for Guro Wrighton and Chelsea, because it's a really poor penalty.
And we spoke the other day in our weekend roundup video on Monday. That is appalling, really. We spoke how important a goalkeeper can be for these clubs in the relegation battle, and sides that then have pushed up the league because of how good their goalkeeper been. I think one of the biggest letdowns of past season has been Shea Yanez.
Because having an okay goalkeeper was alright, but that is just poor. The penalty straight at you, she's got two hands behind it, and that still wasn't enough to keep it out.
And it's one of the positions that Palace didn't do enough to address in the summer, I don't think.
No. It's a difficult one, because obviously if your goalkeeper has a good season, they keep loads of clean sheets, and they do well in one league, it's one of those where you don't really think about replacing it, but the level of...
Well, they signed Yanez last summer, so she hadn't played with them in the Championship. She came in last summer. She came in from Bristol City. I don't know how you looked at that Bristol City defence in the WSL and thought, oh yeah, we'll sign that goalkeeper. That for me doesn't make any sense, and didn't make any sense from the start of the season. I guess she's WSL proven, but WSL proven that she wasn't really at that standard. Ball across from Baltimore, finds Macario, takes aim, and it's 2-0 Chelsea. And they're like London buses. Goals at Kingsmeadow tonight. You wait 20 minutes for one and then two come at once. It's Chelsea 2, Crystal Palace 0. And it was too easy down the right-hand side. A ball into the box and Macario does really well with the finish.
Yeah, it's really good stuff from Chelsea. Woodham just gets drawn out and Baltimore's got acres of grass to run into. Courtesy back to Macario, who has all the time in the world to put this ball into the far corner. It's a really good finish from Cat Macario, and the floodgates are officially open.
Good control from Macario and a really tidy finish.
Too easy, way too easy. Not only is Baltimore in so much space, but how do you let any footballer take a touch in your own penalty area and have a shot under no pressure whatsoever?
Take a touch that poor as well.
Yeah,
and it's not her fault. It's a difficult one because it's slightly behind her, but she does well to get it back within her.
No one gets near her. No one gets anywhere near her.
Other than Arthur, who, if she had made any contact with Macario there, would have given away a second penalty.
Really good finish, though. No chance of Yanez getting to that one.
And that is an ambitious ball through from Weird and doesn't quite come off. But yes, goals in the 22nd and 23rd minute for Chelsea there.
And that's been Palace's other problem, is that even when they've held firm for 20 minutes, they give away a sloppy penalty, and then suddenly they've conceded 2 goals in 2 minutes and they're completely out of the game.
Indeed.
3 minutes ago, it was 0-0 and Palace were managing. But now, it's game over.
Yeah, it has helped for Palace's defence this season that when it rains, it not only pours, it thunderstorms, really.
Yeah.
Hurricanes.
Too many times this season they've gone from being right in games to conceding more than one goal over a matter of minutes, and the tie completely changing. They were 2-1 up at Tottenham, conceded 2 goals in 10-15 minutes, and it lost the game.
Tsunamis. Just thinking of other horrific weather. Lovely driving side from Woodham, back now to Swavey.
And the problem is that
we've got to put Yanez under pressure here. And she does well there, Yanez, to clear it away. Here is Arthur, who takes too long about that and will be picked off by Macario. Strong challenge from Arthur, to be fair.
Well recovered.
Back now to go, though.
And the problem is, as a player, where do you go from this from Palace? Because you now know you're out the game and you're not going to stay up.
Yeah, this will put them 8 points behind. No, 7 points behind Aston Villa.
So they'd have to win
3 games to go. They'd have to win every game, and Villa could draw 2. And they'd win it on goal difference. Here's Macario looking to take aim. For a Palace side this season who haven't had a lot of success in terms of winning games, I can't see them really winning 3 of the last 3.
Yeah, and their problem's going to be is that it's a very difficult championship to get out of. Yeah. They saw that in the season when they came up last season. There's at one point going with a couple of games to go, they could have still finished like 4th or 5th.
Yeah.
And we've seen the same this year. And next season they're going to have one of London City, Lionesses, or Birmingham down there with them definitely. They're going to have some difficult sides, and you've got Bournemouth coming up. Is Bournemouth going up? I think so. But
it's the National League. I think so. And then it'll be either #, or Ipswich. At the moment, it's looking like it'll be Ipswich.
Into the Championship,
Into the Championship, sorry, yeah.
I think so. I can never. The divisions all get mixed up, because I know I can never remember which teams are winning what division.
It's 2 into the Championship, and there's 2 National Leagues, aren't there?
Yeah. Then there's 4 like other divisions, I think.
Yeah. And there is an offside call in there.
So Nottingham Forest have won 1 league and all sorts going on.
That's at step 4.
Yeah.
Same as Fulham, I think. No, Fulham are step 5. Or 5th tier.
Yeah, I can never remember.
David Freire says, do you think they can successfully rotate Germa and Bjorn? Do you think they could do it with Bright to keep her fit and injury-free? Well, obviously, Khadija Buchanan will be back next season. Probably more likely to be around over the winter time.
Yeah.
Than at the start of the campaign. But I think with those 4, you've got a really nice rotation of centre-halves there. And I think it'll probably be to complement them most nicely, I think Germa and Buchanan, possibly. And then Bright and Bjorn will be the partnerships most ideally used. Nuskin tries to feed through Baltimore. Really good defending in there, though. Just
overcomplicate it. Shoko Nuskin just had to lay it in front of her. Didn't need to dink it up and try and find Baltimore on the volley. Just need to play it through to her. But I love the frustration shown from Von Pastor. Chelsea had 2 up after 28 minutes, but she's still getting frustrated when they're making errors.
Bright steps out of the defensive line to find Wrighton. Ball through to Beaver Jones. She's going to struggle to get there. Good keeping from Yanez, who's out quickly and collects the ball.
Yeah, and it's smart from go right, and she plays it to the side to give Beaver Jones best chance of getting there, take it away from the defenders and the keeper. But Yanez was alert to it and quick off her line.
Now, going back to our conversation on Chelsea's centre-halves, I think it depends which versions of the players you get next season. But if you get Naomi Girma, who is the most expensive player of all time and should be one of the best centre-halves in the world, if you get Millie Bright on her best day, if you get Khadija Buchanan for first half of the season, she's phenomenal. And if you get Natalie Bjorn in that 1 game against Arsenal, you've got 4 of the best centre-halves in the world there.
Yeah.
That's incredibly strong rotation for Chelsea to have, and I think it's exactly what they need. They need to be able to have almost 2 teams.
Yeah, because
so that when you get injuries, it's not as big a deal.
Well, that's the thing. We've seen this season, we haven't seen that world-class level from Millie Bright because she can't do that in every game. The rotation allows the Chelsea players to be the best versions of themselves when they do play, because they've got the energy, they've got the fitness, and they haven't got any injury worries. Whereas when you're playing every 4 days, Millie Bright can't be world class every 4 days because her body and her fitness just won't keep up.
And the other thing is that I understand Chelsea's sort of want to bring through the younger players.
Yeah.
But to not sign other world-class players in order to sort of supplement that squad and instead just rely on those younger players means that you end up with some rather inexperienced players playing important Champions League games. I don't think Captain played badly at all on Sunday, but I think you have any of Chelsea's other options in that role, Hermano or James, I think they probably offer more of an attacking threat. I thought Captain did well to try and stop Bonmati and Gallardo or Putellas because they were very good at rotating around in that midfield. But I think she didn't really offer much going forwards, and there wasn't much for Myra to play off of or play to.
Yeah. Make sure to watch the video tomorrow, everyone. But yeah, I think that especially when the other Chelsea youngsters aren't ready yet. I don't think the likes of Potter, the likes of Akpan who have been out on loan across, and the other players who have been out on loan across the Clay pole. I still don't think they're still a loan or two away from having an opportunity to be involved.
Bernabé.
Yeah, they're closer, but again, I think that they haven't played enough at Liverpool this season for me.
But that's the thing. I think they can come in and play early round Champions League games against some of the weaker sides. They can come in and play WSL minutes. But you've kind of got to have a couple players that you think will come through rather than as many as Chelsea seem to have.
Yeah.
I think to how Barcelona do it this season, they've bedded in Vicky Lopez and Claudia Pina over the last few seasons. And now Claudia Pina is arguably their strongest player.
Yeah.
And so they've done really well with those. They've brought in Sydney Shirton live this season, and they've bedded her in gradually. Anyway, Crystal Palace coming forwards now, ball into the box, and that'll be headed on there by Ashley Lawrence. And now Baltimore will go over and collect the ball and look to drive it up the line. Strong defending there, though. And managing to win a throw there does well, Katie Stengel.
Yeah, Palace have reacted well. Chelsea have just steadied a little bit. They've got their 2 goals. They've got a little bit comfortable, and they've just got to be careful because against West Ham, 2-0 is not a comfortable scoreline. But I think it's more of just to take a 5-10 minutes just to stabilise where they're at, and then go again and see if you can get more. They've got to be careful because Palace are just starting to warm up into the game a little bit more.
Oh, well, as you say that, Katie Stengel with a pass off of the pitch then.
Yeah, that's not great, and that will give Chelsea more reassurance that Palace aren't warming into this game. But I think Bombastor will be keen for Chelsea to keep going. Well, that is
back there by Mike Carto. And a really good tackle in there from Brighton. Now Chelsea will look to break away. Charles finds Wrighton. Ball in behind, looking for Beaver Jones. And Swaby
really good
does really well there.
Really good piece of defending.
Just use her body to give that nudge there to Beaver Jones.
Yeah, very easy to commit there and get sent, or commit there and give away a penalty, but very well managed by Swaby. Just sees Aggie Beaver Jones out for a goal kick. Beaver Jones got to be more direct there. Got to try and cause more problems. Run across the centre half, and then it makes it much more difficult for Swaby to do what she did.
Talina's ASMR asks, do you think we can make a comeback on Sunday? I will never not believe in Chelsea. Always have faith that Chelsea can pull off an upset. Can pull off that comeback.
It's one of those where your heart says it's possible, but your head says it's not. Which creates a really good balance.
Well, I don't know. I think because football is so unpredictable, can be so unpredictable, and I think looking at the Chelsea squad, they can score 3 goals and keep a clean sheet against Barcelona. It is feasible in my head. So I think it's possible. And obviously my heart says that Chelsea are gonna win 5-0, not even just 3. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be very, very difficult regardless, but I'll always believe. Macario takes aim. That's blocked away well by Gilles.
Yeah, tame that from Macario, but well cleared. Chelsea just starting to cause more problems. The Palace it's to Palace's detriment that they're getting more into the game because they're looking to come forward more often, And then when Chelsea win the ball back, it actually leaves the away side much more exposed. And there's a lot more space for Chelsea to use. But obviously the positive of that is that they are getting into the game. They are starting to come forwards. That is not a good tackle.
Nasty challenge there from Gelsh.
That is really not a good tackle.
Actually, we'll go into the book for that one. Oh, sorry, Carto. Just such a stupid tackle.
Yeah, she's lucky that Beaver Jones has jumped. If not, that's a red card.
Yeah,
that's a really silly tackle. Just overstretches to try and win the ball
Beaver
back.
Jones is lucky she's jumped. If not, she's broken her leg.
Yeah.
Because that's high cards anyway.
Yeah,
that's the red.
That's a red card.
What is she doing?
That's a terrible. I thought Beaver Jones jumped. She didn't.
She jumped sent into the air.
Yeah.
By Carto flying her leg up that high.
That's a red card.
That's an outrageously bad tackle.
That's a massive let off. Because that's a straight red card and a free match ban.
Yeah, that's the rest of the season gone. She's very fortunate there. And thank Christ Beaver Jones isn't injured.
Yeah.
Because that's an easier tackle that could result in a serious injury.
Yeah. There wasn't as much incredible force in it, but it's really high.
Yeah, it's enough force to cause injury. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Macaro finds Sondy Baltimore. Wants to take on Woodham here. Germer back towards Baltimore. Does well there, Baltimore, to keep that in play. Now Germer. To Baltimore. Again, looks to take on Woodham. And that's a ball onto the goal, onto the crossbar there from Sondy Baltimore. Troubling one.
Almost too good from Sondy Baltimore. Because she tries to put the ball across and obviously Gura right and it doesn't read it. It's right and makes the right run. The problem is it hits the crossbar and rebounds back at her much quicker than she was anticipating. And ends up running through to Yanez.
Cat Antlers asks, how has Germer been playing? Hasn't put a foot wrong.
No.
It's one of those where if you're marking it on has she done everything that she could have done so far that she should have done, 100%. So 10 out of 10 performance, but she's not had to do anything remarkable.
Yeah, that's it. I think it hasn't tested defensively, but she looks comfortable. She looks composed, which is exactly what you want to see and what you expect from the world's highest transfer. Again, good football from Chelsea. Find themselves Macaro again. Loads of space in the penalty area.
Cheered on by Basil right behind the goal there.
Just too easy for Chelsea at the moment. Macaro shouldn't be allowed. I mean, the shot was blocked. That's because she took 3 touches.
Here, with this dead ball situation, plays it short to Macario, who does well to hold on to it despite a foul. Right and ball into the box. Swaby heads it away, and now Weirton will look to break. Baltimore physical in the challenge, so slightly crossing that line though, and that is a free kick.
Yeah, Baltimore just wrestling with her and ends up grabbing hold of Weirton and doesn't let go. But that's not a bad place to give away a free kick at all, really.
No.
Let your side get back in and don't let Palace hit you on the counter.
As Ryzen says, good solid performance is exactly what she needs today. Exactly. I think she looked really nervy coming into that side. Really strong header there from Germer. That is exactly what we need to see.
Yeah.
I think she looked really nervy coming on against Barcelona because she's not played much in this Chelsea team at all.
No.
She's played 45 minutes before having come into a Champions League semi-final. It's a really difficult ask.
And that was a 45 minutes against Brighton where, to be honest, she
really struggled.
Yeah.
Looked shaky.
This is good. Give her at least an hour of just keeping a clean sheet, looking comfortable.
Because it looks like she'll start Sunday. At this rate. We don't know the situation with Natalie Bjorn. It makes sense that she's not involved tonight. But
if Germer is fully fit and is confident, then you'd expect her to start anyway. To be honest, also I know Bjorn's had a very good season, but you want to be playing the world's best against the world's best.
I mean, she's not really played in this system, so
that
yeah, she's a brilliant player. It doesn't matter as much with centre backs because the job doesn't differ hugely from team to team unless you're playing in a Simone Inzaghi system.
Yeah.
But, yeah. So, that's his first name, I think. Anyway. Cat Atlas says, great insight and commentary, thanks. Well, thank you for tuning in. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Thank you for the kind words. As we approach half-time here at Kingsmeadow.
Yeah, been a good competitive start to this. Palace have, I think, well, say start, it's 40 minutes, but, Palace have got better. But Chelsea haven't dropped the standard either, so it has become quite a competitive game, and it's good to see. But again, this is why Palace will be frustrated that they're already 2 goals down. Because they don't concede 2 goals in 2 minutes, they'll be right in the game. It's exactly what they did.
Bit of wordplay there as well.
It's exactly what they did.
Right in the game.
No, but it's exactly what they did in the FA Cup game, but they didn't do the conceding bit.
Yeah.
That's why they remained in that quarter-final for so long.
Weirden. Strong challenge from just going to see her wide there. Weirden. Some accidentally strong footwork in there. And she seems to just fall over the ball and then does give the ball away. Now here's Macario. And Swavey caught in 2 minds whether to jump out or settle back. Goes back, ball over the top, looking for Wrighton. Her touches and great. Gelge gets there. Wrighton strong there against Molly Sharp. I'm not sure that was a foul, but the referee does give it.
Yeah, it's not a foul. Good, right, gets the ball first. But what a ball that is from Macario. Wrighton's touch just lets her down. Gets it caught
Nolan gets
her.
across there really
Really
well.
good tackle from Nolan. And we'll never know whether the tackle was clean or not from Wrighton. I thought it was. But another threatening opportunity from Chelsea. Again, not able to capitalise on it. But it's Guro Wrighton who's getting down that left hand side, causing problems in loads of space, which is I think a reassuring and a good sight for Chelsea fans.
Yeah. So throwing on that far side then for Crystal Palace. And the ball poked forward. Bright out quickly to intercept. Now Jean-Francois plays out to the left-hand side. Wrighton. Back now to Charles.
I think the pivot tonight for Chelsea have just quietly gone about their business, which is what you want to see, really, because it means that they're not getting caught in possession or getting torn apart. But yeah, Jean-Francois Nusken just shifting it nicely.
Well, it's not really been a pivot. It's more of that single pivot.
Yeah.
No Jean-Francois in there. Out of possession, it is a bit more of a pivot, obviously, because it moves to a bit more of it's a 4-4-2 shape out of possession.
Yeah.
You see Macario join as one of the 2 strikers, but in possession, it's Jean-Francois playing as that single pivot, which I think against teams like Palace, whose pressing structure isn't as strong, that's fine because you're going to open up more space.
Yeah.
And actually, it worked quite nicely in the Barcelona game because Barca were doubling up on Kira Walsh, so they needed options to the centre backs to be able to play forward passes.
I think it's something that Jean-Francois has done quite well. I thought she did brilliantly against Man City at the Etihad. That was the big one for me. But yeah, I think that overall I think Jean-Francois has looked better in the single pivot than in the double pivot, which has been something you haven't been able to say about many Chelsea since Chelsea made that switch. It's not been something you've been able to say about many others. It's attack from still not. Just want to say that attack back from Guro Wrighton a couple minutes ago.
One day, we'll watch that full clip. Here's Jean-Francois Macario. Did look like she got to the ball though.
Yeah. Crystal Palace would be hoping to not concede in the next couple minutes and just get the half time at 2-0 down.
Nusken plays out to the left hand side. Charles does really well to keep that in touch. Now drives inside. Needs Charles past to Wrighton, whose touch escapes her a little, but she does well to keep it within her reach. Here's Bright. Now Germa options on this right hand side. Plays into Ashley Lawrence. Still going down this right hand side, Lawrence, and that is a rash challenge and not really a necessary challenge from Mila Gelge.
Yeah, a really random one. Lawrence was running out of road very quickly, and Gelge just said, well, there you go, I'll give you a free kick instead. Really clumsy one. Lawrence just bursting away, don't need to dive in there at all, and just takes her legs out from underneath it.
Indeed, so a free kick opportunity then for Chelsea. Was never going to get to that ball. Lawrence does really well there to put herself between Gelge and the ball.
She should just see Lawrence out there for a goal kick, but fails to do so.
And on the bench tonight, Lauren James watching on in the group of injured players there.
I do like
Cannon and Bjorn, and now they'll do a classic BBC pan out, and there's just a random white lady there.
Don't think she's a part of the Chelsea
I'm
squad.
not sure she is. Macaro, ball in, it's headed away, kept alive. Can they get a shot away? Germa takes aim, it's deflected past the post. And we almost had a first goal for Naomi Germa there, deflected wide though.
Yeah, again, Palace, absolute scramble. Just cannot get the ball out. Just keep kicking it into each other almost. No one gets it clear. Falls to Germa, and without that deflection, that would have found the target. Big interception once again, but someone in a yellow shirt for Crystal Palace just got to put their foot through it. Too many people just sticking a leg out, getting a toe on it, not good enough. and that's one of the reasons why they aren't going to win this division next season, because just not enough people have been convincing.
Yeah.
With that, no one's taking charge of that penalty area.
Macario puts it into the box, and that is palmed off the line there by Shea Inez. Does really well. Swaby then does the rest to get it clear. Jean-Francois tries to keep it alive. It'll drop for Millie Bright now, and Chelsea will get back into shape. Lawrence looks to take it down this right-hand side. No option down the line, so we'll go back to Naomi Girma. Now Chelsea will settle back into possession. CV and Letter says, I think Sonny should play the left. Guro's losing many chances. I don't think Guro's done anything particularly wrong tonight. I think I touched the skater a few times, but yeah, I don't think Sondy's had the best of times on the right-hand side. Brilliant from Hannah Hampton, who came out too far, had to get the ball under her control, and then put it out of play. Does really well, though, to compete physically.
Yeah, use their body brilliantly.
But one additional minute in this first half there. First half, which has absolutely flown by. Has to be said. The game has had a lot of tempo to it. Which often in these sorts of games where you've got a side who are going to play without the ball and you've got a team who are going to dominate, it can be a bit slow as one team tries to break the other down. I just think Palace have been so poor defensively at times and quite decent at breaking and then offering an actual threat in transition for a moment, that it's been quite an entertaining matchup so far.
That's what I've really enjoyed watching under Smerod, is the fact that Palace do come out. They are bold, they are brave, they try and get on the ball like they are now, they try and play football.
I think if they can hold on to the players they've got, they're a team that will cause teams in the Championship a lot of troubles next season, and yes, we expect that whichever of Birmingham and London City Lionesses doesn't go up this season will be really strong next season. We expect to see Newcastle with yet again more investment be really strong next season. So there are going to be teams that will be worries for those, for that Championship title race. But I think you look at this Palace side, and if they keep this style of play, they're going to be really difficult to beat for other teams, regardless of what quality those teams have.
Yeah, especially if they can be more positive. I think that it really depends who they can hold on to. Because I think that the thing is, I think they've got. I was really surprised at the players they managed to attract anyway.
As Phil says, Palace at miles away again. Outside of Swaby and Weirden, I'm not sure any of those have done enough to get a move back into the WSL. I don't necessarily disagree. I look at players like Stengel and Larissy, and they're players who come in with big reputations, but they're players who haven't come in and performed.
That one is so bizarre. She'd played Champions League football this season. Yeah, it's incredible. But
Heckin, comes across the WSL and that doesn't translate. Stengel, a player who was decent for Liverpool a few years back, but again hasn't really translated this season. There's some players who was decent international experience. I'd say just to add to that list, I'd put Mike Arto in there. I think she's a player who's had a decent season in a side that hasn't looked particularly good, and I think there will be teams that will be looking to add a bit of a runner into the midfield. Someone who can add goals as well.
I think that if it is London City Lionesses who come up, they're the kind of players that you'd probably look at as bringing us in as like those squad player rotation options, just to bring a bit of WSL experience into the game. I wouldn't say that you'd be looking at them to rely as one of your big players starting every single week. This does look to be the end, by the way, of Katie Stengel's night.
Yeah, her and Jean-Francois, no malice in it and no intent in it. They both went in for the same ball and just was caught there a little high. And you can see it appears to be that ankle, a bit of blood seeping into her sock there for Katie Stengel, and she will hobble off. I think that will be the end of her night.
Yeah, 50-50. Jean-Francois got there first, and then it was almost on the follow-through. Stengel's ankle replaced the ball, and Jean-Francois, just the momentum of her clearing it, just carried over. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
But a disappointing way, really, for her night to end, you feel. Yeah, way she's hobbling about, no way she come back on. No. We're nearly at the half anyway, so they'll probably just see out.
Yeah, I don't think they'll make a change. I'll see if she's all right through half time, because if she gets jogging in the changing room, she might be able to continue. But
well, yeah, she's walking straight off.
It does feel like that is the end of her game, though.
Not sure they've got all just across the pitch. Yeah, just walk off at the side and walk. You can walk off.
I don't know whether I hasn't just blown the half-time whistle in this.
Yeah, it's also true.
For the sake of the 10 seconds at the end of the additional time, Could have just got players down the tunnel rather than make them stand out
Yeah.
for 2 minutes. The referee will now get the game restarted with the throw, and Bright will send out the other way. And the referee has blown a whistle to signal into the half. So lovely use of a few minutes there. But at half time here at Kings Meadow, it's Chelsea 2, Crystal Palace 0. As Palace have really struggled to get things going in this first half. Chelsea with 2 quick-fire goals in the 22nd and 23rd minute. The penalty from Guro Wright and a sweet strike from Kat Macario give Chelsea the lead at half time.
Yeah, Palace will be frustrated because they were under the cosh for 20 minutes and they can see those 2 goals back to back. But since then, they've really got themselves into the game. Obviously, you can caveat that by saying that if Chelsea hadn't scored 2 goals in 2 minutes, they probably wouldn't have taken their foot off the gas as they have. But it will be frustrating to concede in the manner they did, to give away a clumsy penalty, and then to concede a minute later is just not good enough. And again, I think that first 45 minutes has been a really good depiction of Palace's campaign. They've shown some signs of promise, and as they've grown into the league and as they've gone on, they've looked better. But the fundamental issues are still shining through, and they're the ones that are costing them. Again, failure to clear the ball, numerous occasions where it's just put into the area and no one deals with it. Or nothing. It's not a case of everyone deals with it, and the problem is they all end up just clearing it into each other and having a swing and a miss.
It's really panicky defending. It's emergency defending. You shouldn't have to make a tackle in football. You shouldn't have to. That simply tackling is emergency defending.
Yeah.
If you stand your player up well, if you hold your lines well, if everyone does their jobs, you don't need to make a tackle. You don't need to clear the football. But the problem is they're forced into emergency defending so often because they are under so much pressure, and it's because of so many fundamental problems with the system. Out of possession, Chelsea have been playing through Palace like they're not even there every time this evening. I think the wide area defending hasn't been too bad, especially on the left hand side. I think Lily Woodham's done quite well to stand up Sunday Baltimore. Again, though, Baltimore not on her favoured side, could explain that one. But on the other side, a lot worse from Molly Sharp. The couple times it's been on that side, she's made a mess of it, and they have resulted in the penalty and many other problems. She's got. Has she been booked yet? Don't think so.
No.
But she did commit a foul on that side as well. So slightly worse on that side. And the box defending, as you mentioned there, is just panicky. It's the problem, because if it's a genuine clearance up the pitch, a meaningful clearance, you relieve pressure for a minute maybe. But because it's a clearance to the edge of the box and then they don't deal with it, ends up being they then concede another chance because it just drops to a Chelsea player on the edge of the box, who then they recycle it, and then the same happens again.
I think the Germa chance that was deflected wide only fell to Germa because they had a bit of someone cleared it into Nuskens, and then as Swaby went to clear it, one of her teammates panics and just gets a toe on it to knock it sideways, which rather than if it then touched it, Swaby just smashed it out the pitch. Or Swaby, smashed it out the pitch. But instead, they panic, someone gets a little nick on it with the end of their boot, and they end up just giving it to Germa. That's the problem. There's no communication. There's no taking responsibility. There's no shout of, they scream their name and they put their foot through the ball. That hasn't happened for past season, and it's why time and time again they've conceded. Because to be honest, with Crystal Palace, I mean, take the Arsenal game at home out of it. There's the majority of the games they've lost, they've conceded really poor goals. Like, they'll keep out these brilliant efforts, they'll get big blocks in, and then they'll end up conceding silly penalties or goals from a couple of yards out because they haven't cleared the football, and that will be really frustrating. It's because the quality of goals they've conceded, the way they've defended for times this season has been just utterly appalling. And again, the second goal, there is way too much space for Kat Macario in their own penalty area to take a touch and to pick out where she wants to shoot and then find the bottom corner, and no one gets near her, and it's disappointing to see because, as I said, Palace in this game and across the season have shown some real potential, and they've put on some brilliant performances. I think the game away at Leicester, the game at home to Palace, they've shown the game at home to Tottenham, they've shown they can compete. But again, and then at times they've just been miles off it, and I think it's disappointing because I really do think they could have made a better go this season. But bar some miracle in the second half, they're going to be needing 3 wins from 3 and hoping Villa don't win at all.
Yeah, I think most Palace fans will be resigned to the fact that next season they'll be back in the Championship. It does feel like them coming up last season perhaps was a bit too soon in their cycle.
Yeah.
I don't think that they were ready with the players they had. I don't think they did enough over the summer to prepare for the WSL. And I think it's something that whoever does come up next season, be that London City Lionesses, be that Birmingham, they've got to be aware of that. They've got to see the naiveties for Palace this season, but also where they've got things right, and then look at how they can perhaps learn from those mistakes.
Yeah, because that's the thing, that they have been positive for Palace. I think that they have made a couple smart transfers. I think there were some they've got very wrong, but they did make a couple decent ones. I think that the Smerud spell has proven that it's actually sometimes the best way to play isn't to be the try and play as the worst side in the league, isn't to... Sometimes in football, it's very smart to admit you don't have the quality and to try and sit back and take the pressure on and then just try and take it all and hold on to something. But I think the problem is that Palace have got some quality. They've got some players, and that has been proven in the last couple of weeks under Lee Smerud. They've gone out and they've taken the game to opposition, and they have shown they've got some decent quality. And I think that is something that whoever comes up next season has to look at, is that rather than playing as the worst side of the league, rather than admitting you're inferior and trying to just play, I don't want to say pathetic football, but play that. Don't be brave. Don't step out. Try and sit deep. Don't take the game to anyone.
It depends on the players you have. I think with the players Palace have, it's very difficult to do anything else. But I completely agree, because you look at teams like Everton this season, you look at Liverpool, gone from playing very defensive football, and while some of Everton's football is still quite defensive, they are both much more attacking sides. They signed good attackers over the summer and winter windows, and that they've got sides now who can compete. So I think if you are coming up next season, that's got to be the focus on building a squad that can compete. As for this game, the chances conceded too easy really for Chelsea. Chelsea, on a positive note, some really nice combination plays. I think it's worked nicely in wide areas. We know Chelsea like to use those wide areas, then look for cutbacks, and that's worked very successfully. They found Guro Reiten, who put a ball into the box that was saved well by Molly Sharp, and then obviously that was a penalty. And the cut back nicely from Sonny Baltimore to find Kat Macario, who tucked away the chance really nicely. So, yeah, we've seen some nice football from Chelsea tonight. How that translates to playing Barcelona on Sunday, I'm not sure it does directly, but it's certainly much more encouraging than what we saw last weekend.
Yeah, I think that for Chelsea, in terms of the night, in terms of the fans and the league standing, in the win for which helps them massively in the league, I think they'll all be very, very happy. It's all looking very, very positive. But I think that you could see from Bon Pastor there that she wasn't incredibly happy with that first half. Yes, they're 2-0 up, but that's 2 goals in 2 minutes. They'll look at it as 43 minutes where they failed to score. So I think that Chelsea will be happy with where they are. Bon Pastor, as you'd expect, will expect better, will expect more from Chelsea. Probably would have liked to have scored a few more in that first half. But overall, Chelsea, they're doing exactly what they need. This would put them 6 points ahead of Arsenal once again. It would mean they're only 1 win away from securing the title for a 6th season in a row. So it's all looking very, very good in terms of the result, in terms of the performance. I think they've done well, but they would have expected better. And again, we're talking about motivation. We're talking about building momentum going into this weekend. They need everything they're going to need the rub of the green, but it starts to get a big result across the line. Go and score another 3 or 4 tonight. Really put this Palace defence under pressure. And if you come away with it, or high off confidence after a massive win, that could be very, very different. I also think it's important for Chelsea tonight to get that rotation and to get those subs right.
Yeah.
Because once you get comfortable, you're looking at the likes of Millie Bright to get off and give them a rest.
Yeah, and there was a comment from Maria saying, any changes at half time for Millie or Sondi, do you think, just to manage minutes? I'd like to see Mia Fischel on the pitch. She's on the bench tonight. Could she play 45 minutes? If she can, let's get her on there. Put Beaver Jones at right wing, I think, then give Sondi a rest. Centre halves, it depends how many minutes Melisson Pomey can give you. If it's 45, get her on now for Millie Bright. If it's any less than wait until you can get that out of her. But
Yeah.
I think it'll be important to get her some first 2 minutes again with and give Millie Bright that rest ahead of Sunday's important fixture.
Yeah, any minute of rest between now and Sunday for Millie Bright is absolutely crucial. The fact that Lucy Bronze has got at least 45 minutes rest now is very, very strong. But it's tonight overall has been well managed by Chelsea so far, and they'll look to continue to do that in the second half and just take the 3 points, take the rest, and a job well, and come off this pitch, go job well done. And it does. I mean, someone looks to be coming out in a full Chelsea kit. So whether
that's just Basil.
Yeah, he's ready. He's going on. But yeah, whether that is a sub who is now warming up, whether that's someone who's just come out really early, potentially. But yeah, Chelsea they'll want to get it right and give themselves a great opportunity for this weekend. That's Lucy Bronze.
Why?
Unless it's for Millie Bright, she's going on centre half.
That's still stupid.
Well,
Lucy Bronze played so much football this season. She looked like she was being run ragged on Sunday. I've never seen a player look so tired. She physically couldn't run back. And we're subbing her on air for 45 minutes for no reason.
Well, it's no best thing, but
Give an academy player a go here or something like that, rather than play Lucy Bronze again.
I think based on how easy it's been for Chelsea defence tonight and the fact they want to rest Millie Bright, I do understand it. Give them both 45 minutes rest each. But yeah, that's not ideal. You don't want to... Bronze has done... You could put Nuskin there and then bring someone else into midfield.
Literally, well, we don't have any options in there, but literally, why anyone other than Lucy Bronze should be going on the pitch right now? She's played so much football, I can't understand that decision. Cat Antler says, do you two cover the NWSL? New to watching the WSL more consistently? Curious of the difference between the leagues? Unfortunately not. We were hoping to, or are hoping to. I think over June, once the WSL season's over, we'll look at doing a bit of the NWSL. The problem is that often the games are at 2 a.m. for us. And we're balancing running the channel. We're balancing taking my A-levels in a few weeks' time. We're balancing coaching and stuff like that. It's very difficult. But over June, have a bit more time. Obviously, the regular season in England will be over. The Champions League will be over. So, and there is still games right up until, or close to the start of the Euros, I think.
And when does...
So we could get a bit of NWSL action.
When are like the NWSL playoffs and the end of the season stuff? Because
probably the end of the season.
Well, yeah, really? No, but I think that my other thing with that, it was sort of frustrating from the England point of view, is that will be around September, October time, I think, which is when the WSL starts.
Later, I think.
Oh, okay. That might be probably, yeah. It's not much later. It's really frustrating that it is just ridiculous times in the morning because it's just not. As much as I'd love to watch it, and it's good to see the highlights and keep up to date with it. Waking up to go streaming from 2 till 4 a.m. But then you've got to think that we've got to wake up and set it up. So you wake up at 1.
Playoffs start in November.
Okay, well that might be. I don't know. I don't know why it's going to be more better. That's going to be ridiculous.
I like in America, by the way. For any Americans watching, I'm sure you understand how they can't just announce this is the date. It's the opening round of the 2025 NWSL Plus, presented by Google Pixel, which is always has to be read in an American accent. It's just like, tell us when the playoffs are. They're always getting a sponsorship in there.
Got to earn their money somehow.
That is very true. But yeah, that is in November. But we're hoping to watch a bit of NWSL. The problem is as well, even when there are games that are like 10 p.m. for us here, watching one random game in a blue moon when you haven't seen any of the other season, rest of the season is really. It's difficult to cover, but it's also not as interesting to watch. But...
Also, tennis can still be pretty ridiculous because then the game finishes at 12 and we're still not in bed by 1 a.m.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be in bed before 1 a.m. realistically. As much as I want to watch the NWSL, I do like sleep as well. But yeah, it's a shame because maybe we'll just go out to the States for and we'll do a game over there.
How is it go out to the States, everyone?
That's my plan. Is that rather than just stay out a bit late one night, we're going to go out there.
Yeah, they do run right through to the 23rd of June, so we might get a bit of NWSL action in June when we have not a lot else to talk about. We'll be previewing all of the Euros, obviously. Every team going to the Euros will be previewing, so that will be happening. But other than that, we've got nothing going out. So, might as well stream some NWSL.
One video a day over, is it 24 nations? That'll never be enough.
No, it's not 24.
Is it not?
16.
4. There's not 4 groups, is there?
Yeah.
Is there?
I think so.
There's 16 teams. Well, there's more than that.
Okay, it's professional coverage of the women's Euros.
Wow.
I don't even know who's playing.
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
4 groups of 4.
A USA in it. Brazil. Or Mia Michelle's coming.
There we
on,
go.
isn't
So
it?
at least we've got someone on that isn't going to be.
But
Hasn't
I
played
feel like everyone
every
else is
minute of the
joke.
season. So.
I know that USA and Brazil aren't in Europe. Just in case someone can tell.
Yeah, so it's wonderful. A lot to ask of you two for sure. Yeah, money is king for America here, unfortunately. Very true. Phil says, I find the WSL more tactical and technical, and WSL is fun to watch, but I've noticed a lot more direct approach in general. Yeah, I think that probably is quite accurate.
Yeah.
I think that's why we're seeing a lot of, well, not the only reason we're seeing a lot of people leave the NWSL.
Bronze has gone on and Bright hasn't come. Germ has come off.
Brilliant.
Why has that happened?
I guess if she's got to play at the weekend, that's a problem. But Jason says, I'm from Sydney, Australia, watching WSL at 5 a.m. Well, to be fair, I do. Yeah.
Australians for any sport, I have so much respect.
I think all Australians must just be nocturnal.
Yeah,
that is the only answer. Beaver Jones has come off.
I have no idea what's happening.
Yeah.
Oh, we're underway. I was alert.
Well, there we go. We're back underway. Chelsea resting players that don't need to be rested. So there we go.
Yeah, honestly, Australia, the one part of the world which gets neglected.
Chance down for Palace, all coming from Bronze. Not sure what she was trying to do dealing with that ball. Here's Sharp. Delivers into the box. Dealt well with by Orion Jean-Francois.
To be fair, while we're on the topic of Australia, I feel like I've kept up with a lot of the Women's A-League.
Yeah. Which
seems to be going on over there. There's a striker that's really impressed me. Quite a young striker that I think is being touted by I want to say Holly McNamara. Someone correct me if I'm wrong.
That rings a bell.
But I think she's a player that a lot of clubs across Europe are interested in.
I feel like I've seen the last 5 minutes of a lot of games this season because it'll be on TNT. And if I've been watching on TNT the night before for whatever reason, I'll flick on in the morning at 7 a.m. and Brisbane Roar are playing.
Yeah, I remember watching the Melbourne Derby.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some very good players that have come out of the A-League and are in the A-League right now. But again, that would be silly o'clock in the morning for us.
Maria says Sonia mentioned Germa didn't have 90 minutes yet. But Pomme not got 45? Or is there any academy player who fancies a first team call up?
Unless you bring Pomme on for Bright at 60 and give him Pomme half an hour. Is that the plan?
Yeah, but that's still 60 minutes for Bright today. That's 45 minutes that we don't need to give Lucy Bronze.
But you're looking at it the wrong way. Look at it as it's a 30 minutes Bright didn't play. It's a 45 minutes that Bronze didn't play.
Well, yeah,
Nuskin, brilliant.
Nuskin's done really well to pick off that ball. Bearing in on goal. Shocker Nuskin goes down under challenge from Swaby. And the referee does give it as a foul. That's surely a red card then for Swaby. And that will be the end of her evening. And I'm not sure she can have any complaints about that.
I'd like to see her on back.
I don't think she got the ball.
No, but I think she's unlucky.
And she's furious, but the Palace captain is off. And let's have a look again. It's really good from Nuskin. Nuskin just doesn't quite burst away quick enough. It allows Swaby to catch up. There's definitely a nudge in the back there. It's smart from Nuskin. She runs across her, realising she's not quicker. It's just clumsy. Nuskin goes down cheaply, admittedly.
There's a nudge in the back.
Yeah.
But I think she's unlucky. I think she's really unlucky. Because as a defender, that's kind of the only thing you can do in that situation. There's a nudge in the back. It's smart from Nuskin. You put your referee in that position.
There is still that nudge. If she puts her arms up and Nuskin goes down, it's a yellow card for Nuskin for diving. But she does get that nudge in the back. And it's one of those where she's through on goal, so by the letter of the law, it's a red card, but has it really denied a goal opportunity with how slow Nuskin was moving?
That's not given in the middle of the pitch as a foul. That's my problem.
No, that is true as well. But
anyway, Chelsea now got a free kick in a great position.
Macario takes aim. It takes a huge deflection and it's in. Chelsea 3, Palace 0, and that's further frustration for Palace because the red card was in vain. Comes off the wall. Macario with their second of the game. Chelsea with their third. And Palace falling further behind.
Well, when it's not Unite, it really isn't Unite. A penalty, a deflected free kick and a red card. it's really not been a good evening for Palace, and it's unfortunate. It's Macario. It's. Sorry, I have no words to describe it. It's just not even deflected by the wall. It's deflected by the one Crystal Palace player who I have no idea why she stood there like that.
Or reacted by nudging it the other way.
No. Why would you have a player there? That's the goalkeeper's side of the
But
free
even
kick.
though if she's square on with the ball, it just hits her.
Yeah.
But because she's to the side,
I have
Just
no
nudges in.
idea what's happened there.
there you go.
Yeah.
And now a player is down for Crystal Palace. It looks a bit like Lily Wooden, but I'm not sure.
But yeah, it's a tough one for Palace. Again, it brings back the VAR conversation, but again, it brings back. I don't think that Grace Lowe isn't a top level referee in the women's game.
Yeah.
But for me, it's one of those though where obviously there'll be a lot of people that are saying that it's never a red card. VAR overturns it, but equally, was it Gelia would have been sent off in the first half.
The positioning there of the player is because of the Chelsea players
Oh, right.
on this side. So there's a few players lining up. If Macario passes it, the wall can't react quick enough to get in front of it. So that's why she stood there, but weird positioning. And she doesn't need to move a body that then forces the ball pushes the ball towards the goal.
Yeah, what? Oh,
No, gets to use the red card graphic. That's fun.
Yes, Nolan's also been booked for a protest.
I've not seen the red card graphic in a long time.
No.
Remember the last one to be?
Did
Kirsty Smith get sent off for catching it?
No, she didn't get sent off. Okay. We've had one this season.
Well, the McCabe one, we were at the game.
Yeah.
Anyone in chat? Because there's people that watch this show that probably remember more of it than we do.
Tissiak red card in the FA Cup against Liverpool, but I don't think we were live for that one. We were live for a different game at the same time, and we saw a replay of it at half time.
Yeah, I
It
think
was one of the weirdest and most random red cards I've ever seen.
I think you're right.
It's only one.
Good intervention and smash.
One I can think, there's probably one more recent, but the one I can think of is Aggie Jones, second yellow card against Celtic in the Champions League away. I was here by myself for that one.
Yeah,
that was one where Celtic
very
nearly shocked Chelsea, and then they very quickly didn't. But yeah, I can't remember now. You don't see that. It's good to see. You don't see too many red cards. But yeah, it's harsh for Suave, but I think that it's a difficult one in that situation as a referee. Here's Charles Nuskin.
Yeah, there's only been 5 red cards this season.
Wow.
Brooke Aspin against Tottenham.
Oh, yeah, on a Christmas debut.
Yeah, we won't apply for that.
Oh, me, Bright's got that one wrong.
Slightly missed time.
Oh,
one.
no.
I think she'll. Did she get the ball?
Maybe she did.
We'll have a look.
See if there are not any complaints from Lara, say. Let's have a look. No, she didn't.
Not sure
I don't think she got anything, really.
No.
I don't think she got anything. But yeah, what red cards? So, Brooke Aspin against Tottenham. Opening weekend.
Pattinson got sent off against Aston Villa.
Yes.
Maisie Simmons got sent off against Palace a few weeks ago.
Oh, yeah.
McCabe obviously at the bridge.
Yeah.
Aspin on the opening day. And Paula Thomas got sent off against Brighton. So no, that's the first double red card of the season that we've covered.
Wow. Yeah, that weird Brighton Villa game where there was 2 penalties in the last couple of minutes from both Pattinson and Thomas got sent off. And Thomas was never. Yes, because Thomas's red card was never a red card, and Patterson's was a second yellow for kicking the ball away or delaying the restart.
Yeah.
And that's just like such a the game.
I don't have an easy slip. Right, looks to play this diagonal ball, finds Lawrence, just about keeps that in touch. But yeah, that is fascinating that there's been 5 red cards all season.
Yeah, only 5. It's in 19 match weeks.
Yeah.
It's not bad going. But again, though, I do think there's some this season that when you bring in VAR, some tackles get caught. Yeah.
Well, this is good to see. Micah Hamano coming on for Chelsea now.
Who's going to get rested now? Guro Ryan. To be fair, that might make if she hasn't.
That would make some sense. No, that's too logical. I reckon Hampton.
Got to be Baltimore or Brighton, surely.
You'd hope so.
The one player it shouldn't be is
Jean-François.
Macario.
Or Cat, yeah.
Sure, yeah, Jean-François. bit weird position now because Chelsea have already got the third goal they would have wanted. They've now got an extra player, and they've still got 37 minutes to play.
Yeah.
But this is a big game because Chelsea now are one win away. Realistically, they're one win away from the title, and that's massive.
That's United
Yeah.
next Wednesday.
And that'd be huge.
Yeah. Really good header from Nuskin. They could win it that night if Arsenal lose elsewhere.
Yes.
Ball into the box. Cleared away. Going to fall for Macario. Now Fischel takes aim. Saved well there by Shea Yanez.
Good effort that from Fischel. Took it well on the turn. Looking for that far corner. Matched though by Yanez. But yeah, if Arsenal lose to, is it Villa? Or if Arsenal drop points at Villa.
Yeah, I think it's Villa.
Then
Chelsea will be crowned champions. There won't be a single Chelsea fan there though because it's 8:15 at Old Trafford. No, Leeds Sports Village. Not Old Trafford, I don't think.
Carnreed also coming on for Chelsea, so that you'd expect that to be for me. I'd guess Brighton and Baltimore.
Yeah.
Or Cat and Baltimore, or whoever. A combination of attackers, but one has to be Sondy Baltimore.
Probably take off Charles, make Baltimore go playing rest of the game at fullback.
Yeah.
Here's Lawrence. Sondy Baltimore does well to keep it in touch.
That's great.
Ran it out, and that will be a pass through.
Yeah. Here come the Chelsea changes then. Let's see who's coming off. First of all, Hermano will be going on for Guro Wrighton. That's expected. Wrighton back from injury. Yeah.
She'll start hopefully then Sunday.
Yeah. And has played well, Guro Wrighton. I thought it was sharp. She won the penalty. Did well, got into space on that left-hand side, caused some issues. It wasn't her best, but it's the kind of decent performance you want to see after coming back from injury.
As well, looking for a player walking around the ground. Great ball through from Fischel to Carnreed, almost making an instant impact. Fischel picking up again in midfield. Now that is cleared away. It is Sondy Baltimore that's come off as well, I believe. Weirden darts inside. Nice attempt from Charles. Can't quite get there. Doesn't come off. Now Chelsea looking to bring the ball forwards. Millie Bright. It's just running around with the...
Really good interception from Charles. Doesn't win the ball completely, but gets a nudge on it to give it to Bright. But Carnreed there, if it wasn't for Yanez making a big save, would have scored with her first touch.
Why is Hermano playing on the right wing and Carnreed on the left?
Don't know. They're great from Fischel. Plays it through.
Well, Carnreed probably should have finished that one off.
It's a good save.
Yeah.
Yanez is right out there to smother it. Really good goalkeeping. Yes, true.
Chance now for Carnreed from range, and that one hits a loud Chelsea women's side. So I won't read the whole thing out, but I didn't panic right now.
2 touches from Carnreed. One was a shot saved, and one was a shot over the bar.
One was close to hitting Basil. I don't know if he is in that
stand. A lot of space there. You'd expect her to do better with that.
Yeah.
Just gets under it, skies it. To be fair, that's her second touch of the game. But I think Carnreed needs a goal. Just for confidence, just for a boost.
Yeah, Yanez, goal kick. Sends it forward for Crystal Palace, headed on in there. Nice control from Stengel, gets the flick on, and pass will come down the left-hand side now. And that's a ball fed through the lines, cut out well by Lucy Bronze. Lawrence, Jean-Francois competing for the ball. That's really well to hold that up with Maikato on her back. And now Bronze launches it forward. Smith Fischel gets a good control in there. Now Hermano looked to break away with the ball, but it's one back. And now Chelsea will press up, but it's Yanez in possession for Palace.
And again, tries to go long, doesn't work. Chelsea have it back. Palace just got an options now. They are going to make a triple change in a moment or two.
Mark Barker with a hell of a callback to earlier in the show. Holly McNamara, who was mentioned a while ago. Carnreed, ball into the box, flicked on by Fish out the front post, doesn't quite come off. And that is out for a Chelsea corner. But Holly McNamara was dubbed the next Sam Kerr. She's had 3 ACL injuries. Only played half of this season, but has won the Golden Boot with 15 goals.
I know, but she's actually ridiculous, and the comeback has been incredible. I want to say she's 22. I might be wrong. But yeah, a really good player, and hopefully if she can stay injury free, then
Yeah, 22.
yeah, if she can stay injury free, she'll hopefully get a really good move and shine in a bigger league.
Yeah, that's the thing. She needs now to prove it either in the NWSL or WSL. Oling, Hughes and Larkin all on for Palace then. It's good to see Elise Hughes back. We saw her come on, I think, earlier.
Yeah, she had a couple cameos, yeah.
For Palace, but it is nice to see her. I think they've sorely lacked who was arguably their best player last season. Stengel here will wait for Makar to take a corner first. Before making her way around the ground. And she watched a great ball into the box. Yanez does enough to push it away. And now they'll look to break down this left-hand side. Larkin putting pressure on it. But it goes to Carnreed. And now Chelsea will move the ball around. Amano.
Yeah, I thought Stengel was going to join the Chelsea fans.
The play. Finds Macario in an acre of space. Slides it into Charles. Charles looked to keep it in touch with the ball across the box. Nuskin's effort is blocked. Looked like it came off a Palace player there. And it is out for a corner. Don't know what the Palace player's doing there. No need to touch this football. It's going out of play.
No, she didn't touch it. Yeah, just deflected.
Oh, okay.
But again, that should never get to that point for Palace.
Yeah.
Another opportunity for Macari to put a ball in the dangerous area. And to just keep this pressure on Palace. Since the red card, Palace just can't get out now. They're really camped up. They've got no outlook because obviously they're having to drop more players back.
Ball in towards the back post. Nuskin tries to head it across the box. It came for Palace player. I thought it had, but it has not in the eyes of the officials, and that is a goal kick.
Yeah, Nuskin just getting that one wrong. Blew it deeper, that corner from Macari. I don't know whether that was intended or not. Yeah, it's a corner. It should be a corner, but not many complaints from Chelsea at this point in the match.
No.
Still half an hour to go.
This is the kind of game where in the first half of the season, Chelsea get 2, 3, maybe 4 goals in the last 10, 20 minutes here.
Yeah.
And that will be now interesting to see if Chelsea can find that level again. Because they I know obviously at the end, towards the end of the season, they will be just turning down the gears in this sort of moment. Whereas in the start of the season, it's like, how can we just, click up these gears? How can we put more effort in? Chelsea in this game will be turning it down a bit, but I'd like to see a couple more goals at least.
Yeah, well, Chelsea, you think back to when they beat Palace 7-0 at Selhurst Park, Chelsea were only 1-0 up at half time.
Doing really well to hold on to that ball. Now Macario. Yeah, I remember that game. And that is a foul again. I think Molly Sharp will remember this game particularly fondly.
No.
Another foul. She's fortunate not to go in the book.
I think Palace are frustrated because it did look like handball from Fischel earlier in the move. But yeah, it's just another just silly tackle. Nowhere near the ball. Brilliant from Macari. It just cleans her out. It's terrible. It's really poor defending. I mean, that's a yellow card.
If players' boots with a ball should be the best defender in the league, but she's mistimed every tackle tonight horribly.
Yeah, it's not a bad tackle. It's not intended at all. She's genuinely going for the ball. But the problem is, she's just not good enough.
Just a day late and $1 short with it.
Yeah, every single time. Just can't time them rightly.
Macario looking to put this ball in them. And then towards the back post again. Fischel, header on target, saved by Yanez. Cleared away in there by Gelge. Huge save from Shea Yanez that to deny Mir Fischel. Fischel unlucky. Denied at close range. Out for a Chelsea corner this.
No, I know that was a really good opportunity for Chelsea, but that's much better from Palace. It's a good save from a goal. It's a save she probably should make, down to her left. And then it's just cleared.
It's a save. I don't know if it was a save or it hit the post.
Yeah, it's a good header from Fischel.
Does well to get contact with it.
Good set.
Hits the post.
Hits the post.
But it's really good. It's well dealt with by Mike Carter in there.
Let off, they hit the post. Cheyennes did nothing.
He would have got in if
yes.
It was on target. Unlucky from Fischel, crashing one against the post there.
Another corner. Chelsea, this is relentless now.
Ball in from Macario. Bronze heads it towards goal. There's a flick on in there. There's a touch from Fischel. And it should be saved, but it isn't. Chelsea 4, Crystal Palace 0. And the big fish is back. Loving the celebration. Loving seeing Mia Fischel back on the pitch. Returning from an ACL injury. And that's a big goal. Bronze with the header. Really nice flick in from Fischel. Yanez is frustrated with herself because she's got to do better with that one.
Yeah, again, I'll just praise a bit of Crystal Palace defending, but this is appalling. Bronze was in acres. And
if anyone here does anything resembling defending, the goal doesn't go in.
I mean, Fischel must have got the slightest of touches on it. Yeah. Just got a little flip, which I think just carries it past Yanez.
I'm not sure. Yanez could just kick it out.
Yeah. I think she tries to dive. She doesn't really need to. She could just boot the ball at them, or it just goes through her legs.
I feel for them. You're just watching a team who aren't good enough to compete at this level.
Yeah.
I mean, Lucy Bronze is as unmarked as Paredes was the other day on Sunday when Lucy Bronze forgot that she was marking her.
Yeah.
But, heads it towards Scarl Fischel with the slightest touch on. Amir Ragragui says, who you calling a big fish? Is that not her nickname? I swear it was Big Fish. It's been a while since I've seen Amir Fischel.
She has a fish celebration.
Yeah, I thought her name was Big Fish. Yeah.
Maybe she's just fish.
Maybe it's not big. She's just fish.
Small fish?
American
Cardboard box.
Big fish, little fish. Cardboard box.
Yeah. Surely it's not just fish.
Ball down the line. Mike Carter will get their head of Bronze. Bronze does well. They'll stop the ball into the box. And now Bright will carry it forwards. Finds Jean-Francois. Macario. That's a lending pass. It goes back to Jean-Francois. That was saved wonderfully in midfield. And now they look to come down this right-hand side. Molly Sharp's got herself forward. Carnoid will stand her up. Ball back now to Nolan. Needing an option. Now they'll play down the left-hand side. Woodham plays it up the line. Nice one back in there, though, by Lucy Bronze. Brian says, yeah, that's her nickname. Okay.
Yeah.
Big Fish. It's all right. I haven't insulted her.
No.
It's a relief. Davey, welcome to the stream. I like how you're safe, Fischel. Is that incorrect?
Maybe it's fish. Ow.
That would be good. Or maybe it's Spanish and it's the fish. I'm not sure fish is a cognate.
No. It's not.
Shark.
Where is Sharp going?
Sharp is running horizontally there on the pitch and goes down on the slightest contact, and Chelsea going forwards. Carnoid into the box. That's dealt with, and it's going to spill out for Molly Sharp. Hard for her to swing it back in the box with her performance tonight. A ball up the line, held on to well there by Ellis Hughes. Is being forced backwards here, though. Just about keeps that in touch. Now goes back to Shea Yanez. Phil says, who is Little Fish? More importantly, who is Cardboard Box?
Who is Cardboard Box?
Those are the big questions.
What a ball.
Oh,
Can't use
compete
it.
for it. Good defending in there. And now it's on Sharp again. Oh, no, it's not Sharp. I'm back in there by Nutskun, though. Rogue tackling there from me again.
Nutskun backed out of that.
Oh, well, I'm glad. I was just going to get swiped.
She did, but Gary would have got sent off, so, you know.
2 red cards. I've got to take another graphic on there.
I've got one.
No, no.
And this is what we expected. Melis and Pomate coming on for Millie Bright.
So at least there's a 23-minute rest there for Bright.
And 23 minutes for Pomate.
Good to see it back from injury.
If you'd told me at the start of the season I'd be watching 20 minutes of Pomate and Bronze centre-half partnership, I'd have thought you were joking.
Yeah. Or that somehow Fulham had got into the FA Cup semi-finals. It's Hampton. Now Pomate, or any other easy team to beat.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry. I thought it was like a pun with Fulham. I was trying to think what was going on there.
No, sorry. The joke wasn't that advanced. I thought that would be an easy game.
I read too much into the Fulham rather than...
Sorry, I'll sit here for 20 minutes and try and think of a good pun.
Please do.
Bronson and Pomate.
And Fulham.
Centre-back.
Let's got involved Fulham now.
Okay. Wow. Here's Giles.
No disrespect to Fulham whatsoever.
Back the line. That's good football from Palace. Ball launched forward. Elise Hughes up against Orion Jean-Francois. That goes back though. Good from Jean-Francois. Plays it back to Mpome.
Important for Mpome to get some minutes. I think she's a player that has a lot of potential, but hasn't really featured. Then got in, looked a little bit shaky, I think, in the Champions League, and then got injured.
Yeah.
So it's good for her to get some minutes under her belt. Lawrence caught in possession, then catches the striker, and we'll all move on.
Mpome tries to play it forward. One back in there. It says the cardboard box would be Hannah Hampton, surely. I think if we tell Hannah Hampton she's cardboard box, she might not be.
Also, if you your goalkeeper made a cardboard, you might have a few questions.
Mamonas Insberger's cardboard box.
Yeah.
Carnreid drives inside, gets shot away, and it's blocked.
Carnreid does everything right all the time, just can't score a goal. Again, that is such a dangerous run. It's a brilliant drive inside, causes so many issues, but then it's just charged down. It's really unlucky. And knee slice for good measure from Sharp.
Celebrate.
Yeah. What a block.
To be fair, you've got to celebrate the little victories sometimes.
Yeah.
Calling out for Chelsea, we didn't see what happened because we were watching replays.
Yeah.
But a chance now for them to get the ball back into the box. Macario over this.
I think the wind has something to say about the placement of the ball.
Alderlono kicked it. Can't be sure. Macario puts it into the box. It's going to drop for Carnreid. Can she get a shot away? Not quite. Jean-Francois. They'll recycle it. Here's Hermano. Ball put into the box. It's headed away. Now Bronze will take aim, and that's not far away from Lucy Bronze.
Yeah, just dragged it wide. But again, Chelsea
Why
do
not?
very well. Yeah, no.
Why aren't players having more shots today?
Don't mind. Chelsea just recycle it well. Falls to Bronze. She thinks, you know, I'm going to have a go. She's got space to have a shot. No, puts her under pressure. And she had Yanez scurrying across that far corner, but just puts it wide. But no, Chelsea had a good second half. They've been helped out by Palace being reduced to 10. But I don't think, obviously, it doesn't matter much from the result. I think it's just more disappointing from Palace that they couldn't make more of a game of it, because they responded when they went 2-0 down in the first half. They responded really well.
Yeah, Amir asking, are we still top of the WSL? Yeah, 6 points clear now. Bronze.
1 win away
On Pommet.
from being confirmed champions. It's a really good position for Chelsea to be in.
Oh, indeed. Much better than the position we were in last year, which I think complicated things in the UWSL.
And this year, and Chelsea are in the comfortable position, and then go and complicate things in Europe.
Well, I don't think it helps the run that Chelsea had going into that Champions League game, because of the placement of the League Cup and that crunch game against Man City, and then a stupid international break that nobody wanted.
I genuinely think there's no one on planet Earth that wanted that international break.
Apart from, I'm trying to think of a rogue player who got a goal in it.
UEFA, obviously.
Oh, yeah. Seferin.
But yeah, no football club who are still in an opportunity to win a trophy wanted that April international break.
There's not a single person on earth, apart from that isn't employed by UEFA,
Yeah.
that wanted that international break. Well, Arsenal, I think, didn't do too badly from it.
Well,
They just took all their players out. And they still had an injury.
Russo and Kelly picked up. Russo did actually pick up a knock.
Wow.
Well, that one was in the game. You watched it happen.
I didn't, to be fair.
Yeah, no, you weren't here. But yeah, Kelly, I don't know what really happened to Kelly, but Ford played one game with a mask on because she did something to her nose.
Maybe she was doing a commercial for Batman.
Maybe. Or Jeremy Lynch. But either way.
He's got a new song dropping. You do need a Master Me With Me. It's a coronavirus edition. That's a really niche joke that one person's going to get.
Yeah. Someone might get it in out of however many are watching right now.
Yeah.
And they're finding it hilarious.
If any of the 50 people in chat understand the Jeremy Lynch reference,
Please let us know. So we don't want to be the only ones.
brilliant stuff.
You know it's got that point in the game when those when Jeremy Lynch gets mentioned.
Brings the ball down in there. One back in there by Bronze. Now Carnreid. Tries to feed the ball through to Macario.
Carnegie deserves a goal.
And that's a pass back from the pass defence into Yanez.
But yeah. Still what? 17. Chelsea will fancy themselves to get 1 or 2 more goals, I think.
Yeah.
And something I think 4-0, 6-0 looks very different to 4-0.
It's been a very placid performance from Palace. They're not exactly going down, being dragged by their feet and kicking and screaming.
You see sides go down with I hate seeing sides go. I don't want to say without a fight, because of course they're trying to fight, but they just haven't got the quality.
Mm.
You know, I have a lot of respect for the sides that you see fight to the very end and give it absolutely
I think the
everything.
problem is once that first goal went in, when we saw by the immediate concession of a second goal, they just lost belief. And it's difficult at this point in the season to keep going when it feels so
and they
apparent that
they did exactly. They had one the biggest game of their season. They went and won it against Aston Villa, and they thought they'd given us a massive opportunity, and then Villa have gone out and picked up wins against Liverpool and Tottenham and just undone all the Palace's work. And I think that's just killed them off, really.
Yeah.
Because if Villa didn't win those 2 games, it'd still be a point.
And it's a shame, because I think Aston Villa this season are really lucky not to be going down. I think Tottenham are really lucky as well not to be going down.
How they've got... And that's the thing, when you look at some of the games where Palace have got unlucky in, the Tottenham game is probably one of the best examples. And then you look at the kind of games that Tottenham have won this season, where they beat Leicester without a shot on target, and then that's what I feel sorry for Palace, because they've had shots on target at least.
Yeah. This is a slightly different but equally funny Jeremy Lynch moment. Best on the ball player at Arsenal, including the first team.
Yes, that is true.
And as Phil says, absolute waffle merchant indeed. Yeah.
I sort of think it's an advert for like a TV show, a documentary. I can't remember. I don't know what he's doing now.
He's a TikToker now, isn't he?
Oh, is he? Is that what he's doing?
He makes awful TikTok videos.
Oh, like the skits and stuff. Or like
it's pretty much it's just him, and then he goes, "I have an Audi."
Wow. Millie Bright, by the way, with ice on that left knee.
I'm not an avid viewer of Jeremy Lin's TikTok content. He might make bangers. I'm not sure anyone on TikTok. No, there are good TikTok creators out there.
Yeah.
But not many people on TikTok make bangers.
No. But no, fair enough to him. I'm sure he's earning a lot of money.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe we should start just doing like, what's the women's football TikTok space like?
Depends what part of it you look at.
Okay.
If you look at the fandom bit.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about that bit.
Borderline harassment.
Yeah. I don't want to see 37,000 clips of Lucy Bronzer compilations. Yeah. Look at our star girl. But no,
I don't know TikTok, so I just consume it via people complaining about it on Twitter.
Yeah, lovely.
So I'm not sure what the whether there is a desire for short form content in the women's space or not.
We should go, look at our not Audi.
We make the same TikToks, but just with whatever we have.
Yeah. He's a golf.
He's showing us off his watch. Trying to get the time up on my phone.
Oh dear. I find that's a good ball through the Macario. Oh, good save.
Good bit of goalkeeping. Probably could have held it, but pokes out for a corner.
Chelsea still huffing and puffing for more goals, as you'd expect. But this is something we haven't seen from Chelsea in recent weeks. Is that continuance to keep going? Still pushing on when you are already falling up against 10 players.
Phil says probably all layman clips from a certain angle. And advice I guess probably on her own TikTok.
Yeah. I mean, I also think she's done more of a baller league than I have actually playing for Juventus.
Oh, it really annoyed me. Obviously, Juventus won the league the other day. I dealt with that corner by Palace, struck by Pomme, blocked in there. Really annoyed me the other day. Juventus won the league, and she was front and centre of the celebrations, leading a dance in front of the crowd. And it's like, it all has to be about you, doesn't it? She's not. Like the rest of the squad is in a line behind her, and she's front and centre doing this dance. If she was the best player in the team, that would be understandable. But she's scored like 3 goals all season.
Yeah. She spends her Monday nights at the O2.
Exactly. If I was a Juventus player, seeing her prancing about in front of me, I'd be well annoyed.
Managing against Angry Ginge and John Terry.
She's signed for Juventus only because of Douglas Luiz
Yeah.
signing. And when he leaves in the summer, she's probably also going to leave.
Where's he going?
I don't know.
Oh, anyway.
Well, tune into a men's football channel to work that out. But
it did feel like they. I'm also not saying they did, but it very much feels like they did it and she did it for that couples transfer branding. You know, the first ever.
everything she does is for branding.
Well, yeah, we've got that, but yeah, that first ever couples transfer in football history, and everyone, went everywhere. And
I think it was more that Lewis was going, and they didn't want to break up.
She had to go to Birmingham.
She had to get out of Birmingham as soon as possible. Turin or Birmingham, tough call. Phil says, "I'll talk about Jens. Your mind's in the gutter, lads." Oh yeah, I've watched those clips.
Jens Lehmann.
Them.
No.
Is it Jens Lehmann? Hang on, I'm gonna just Google something. Before I say anything that makes us liable.
God, never a good sentence. There's still 10 minutes to play here at Kings Meadow. Chelsea in cruise control. That red card and the third goal were probably...
Jens Lehmann arrested for drink driving. That is going viral on TikTok. I also like that when you search Jens Lehmann, the first things that come up are chainsaw and son.
What?
Don't think they're related.
No.
Well, I'm going to have to Google chainsaw now. Oh, he was fined £100,000 for damaging a neighbour's garage with a chainsaw. What? Colourful character. Yeah. Chelsea break into the box. Horse backwards there.
Yeah, oh dear. Bronze. I missed the midweek WSL matches where they're just over in a flash.
Ball into the box. Here's Nuskin, and that is out for a goal kick. Ryder makes a very good point here against your heteronormative ideas, Harry. Says, first ever straight couples transfer.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
Harry's cancelled.
That's what it's been...
Someone get on Twitter. Hashtag Harry.
That's how it's been branded. That's how it's been branded, and that's why they've done it.
Well, it's because it's men's football accounts that forget that women exist.
And that women don't just exist to love men.
Exactly. Billy says, to be fair, Lehmann was really promising at West Ham. I think she showed glimpses as well at Aston Villa, but towards the end of her time at Villa and throughout the season at Juventus, it's just been abundantly clear she's more interested in marketing than being a footballer.
Yeah.
Football's more of an excuse to do fashion shoots than the other way around.
Model, yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, what a ball that is from Bronze. Can't quite bring it down. Chelsea have responded well. They've played well today. Yeah, I feel like the red card and the free kick going in have just taken any life out of this game for Crystal Palace. They are probing forwards now, though.
Here's Molly Sharp.
I think Sharp's probably dropped one of the worst performances I've seen this season. To be honest, I don't think I've seen many worse individual performances than tonight. I don't like saying that about any player because it's they are still a professional footballer, but it's been a really tough one for her tonight.
I think she's competing with a lot of Tottenham centre backs this season.
Yeah.
Who is it that scored two?
Ash Neville at Liverpool.
Yeah, and go on pen.
That was a howler.
Who conceded? Oh, Jazz Matthews against Arsenal, two own goals.
That's
never
in there.
Great.
No.
Here's Kian Reid bursting into the box. Takes aim and it's like net and should have squared it.
Has to square it to Fisher.
Never going to get that in the near post at that angle.
But that shows how much she wants and needs a goal because she should never shoot from there. Should never shoot from there. But just forcing it now. That's the problem for Kian Reid. She's just trying to force it into the back of the net, and that doesn't work in football. You have to be patient and just be calm and collected about it.
This is what I mean, right, about the lack of promotion of things in the media.
Yeah.
Did you notice the Festival of Women's Football Awards tonight?
No, I didn't.
No. Fantas Joyce has won Goalkeeper of the Year. That's the facts for the invite.
Well, hang on, it's April. How can they decide it's one? How can you vote? Hang on, what? I have so many questions. So the season's not over, and it's called the Year. But why are the Year Awards being announced in April?
I don't know.
Yeah, why aren't we invited?
Festival of Women's Football Awards.
Well, congratulations, Palace Joyce.
And we'll go to the.
She's had a very good season, to be fair. Here comes Annabelle Blanchard. She's now a player. Why has she not played enough this season?
Someone mentioned it earlier. I think was it Phil? I want to say mentioned earlier. I don't know why she's not started.
Right. I think she's a top player. I think she was the catalyst in their win at Leicester early in the campaign. I feel like I haven't seen her mentioned at all since then. Comes on for Mike Carto. 6 to play.
Yeah.
Chelsea back on the ball.
I've seen nothing other than the fact that Francis Choice has won goalkeeper of the year.
That's good.
Yeah,
Carnery,
cool.
good football. Nuskin cuts it back. Turned out for a corner.
And I think Siobhan is hosting.
Who? Siobhan
Ahern,
Ahern,
yeah.
yeah. Talk Sport. And obviously various other medium. Yeah, Chelsea looking for a fifth. What would be the cherry on the icing on the cake? Macario, corner, good one. Header, Carnery just can't score. Heads it into the ground and heads it wide. What has Johanna Eating Carnery got to do to find the back of the net at the moment?
Phil pointing out Blanchard's been dropped after the manager change, hasn't started since Smera come in. I mean, it's interesting because I think she's a very good player, but to be fair, where does she fit in this Palace midfield in this setup?
It is true, but sometimes you have to think about your setup. You also have to think about who your best players are.
Yeah.
When you are a side like Palace.
They've had Gale, they've had Arthur, and they've had Mike Arthur.
I don't think Arthur's great.
No, but if they're playing with two more defensive midfielders and then two more defensive or water carrier type players, and then Mike Arthur as your ball carrier, someone who can break through lines, I get it, but yeah, it's an interesting setup.
They'll go again.
I also don't think a front threes work particularly well. I get that they want to play Reardon on one wing, but they don't have any other wingers. So Stengel out there just doesn't work.
They didn't even play that against when they beat. I think they've changed it too much. Smera's actual ideas work, but there's been too many tweaks, which have just.
It's difficult when you come in and you've got to get a result if all your team are down.
And the problem was that they didn't win because the run he's had has been absolutely horrible. And that's the problem, is they didn't win the games early in the season when it mattered. They didn't get the points against the weaker sides in the league. So then suddenly they were asking Smera to get wins at United and Liverpool and City and Chelsea, and that was never realistically going to happen. They needed to get points off Everton's and your West Hams and your Tottenhams rather than, how they lost that Tottenham game, I will never know. I'll always remember that Tottenham game because it's the one time we've ever seen Olivia Holt actually be able to touch a football pitch since she joined Tottenham, and she scored a brilliant free kick, and that was it.
I can't really describe what's happening on the pitch at the moment. Hughes managed to scoop up, and then Bronze played off the corner flag.
I feel like I'm watching 3v3s in a tight area.
Yeah, big win for Chelsea with some important games coming up.
Yeah, good rest for some players in there as well.
Manchester United, obviously. Barcelona, obviously Sunday. Manchester United next Wednesday, and another two WSL fixtures, and then of course. Women's FA Cup final on the 18th. Tickets went on sale for that today, by the way. So if there are Chelsea fans watching along and you haven't got your Women's FA Cup final tickets, go over and get them. No, today. Yeah, yesterday, sorry.
Yesterday.
Yes,
Today is Wednesday.
But there are still some on sale. So
yeah, they haven't all gone. I don't think. Michelle, it's blocked right now. Wow. Blocked.
And if you want to sit near us, I'm not sure there are any seats near us anymore. But we are in the standing section behind the goal. So we're going to see if Harry gets arthritis for standing up for so long.
Stand up for 90 minutes at Wembley. I think it's going to be great. This is such a good day. Make sure to come find us. Come join us for the day.
Yeah, we'll be hanging around Wembley. We need to do in-person recording things.
Yes. We'll just stand outside the ground and hope people come talk to us.
I'm not sure you're allowed to film Wembley Way, though, are you?
You're not? That actually makes sense.
No,
because if I was walking down Wembley Way and some geezer turned up and put a camera in my face, I would be very angry.
I think, and also like some sort of licensing thing.
Or they just
because it's not public property. Yeah. I don't think
they'd stop in the middle of the walkway and make the other 79,999 people walking at them walk round them.
Yeah. Milo Tisse has won Young Defender of the Year.
Sorry,
is she young?
What? It's Millie Turner going Defender of the Year, And
Yeah, I think this might be the Manchester United Festival.
Toons women and Toons
Manchester United Women Award.
Yeah, they just branded it differently, so it sounds like they're winning loads of not like other competitors. How do you vote? What was his vote? How do you vote?
I don't know. The real awards are coming at the end of the season, though. Tune in for the Women's Football Chat.
Yeah.
Festival of Women's Football of the
If you
Year
haven't
awards.
joined us, we do brilliant award shows.
Might have to get the suit out this year.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to invite them all to invite all the award winners.
Yeah.
Hi, Lauren J. You want to come do an award show? It's not quite the PFA Player of the Year award or anything like that.
Cramped on our sofa behind.
But it's the TWFC WSL Player of the Season award. It's prestigious. You'll be the first ever winner of it.
Does really well to carry that ball up the line. Looks to deliver it into the box. Takes aim there, Hamano, but that one trickled.
That got in.
That was trickling towards goal. Yanez does get down there, though.
Yeah. Anytime bingo. We've got to that point. It's a midweek WSL game. We haven't played it in a while. Anytime bingo. Do you know what's called anytime bingo? It's not nothing to do with bingo. You're going 3, I'm going 2.
Don't question the show.
No. If you haven't been here before, anytime bingo is you guess how many minutes we added on the end of a football match. We don't play it often. We used to play it all the time. But because...
Now we actually provide commentary.
Yeah.
Now we do something like that.
Rather than I just shouting 89 minutes, anytime bingo, and then we all sit there and guess. It was 4. We all lost.
I don't think someone was playing along at home but didn't get involved in chat quick enough.
Yeah. And they're sitting there really proud of themselves.
Well, cut out that and out for a throw.
I think both managers, right, just agree, just the referee, don't add on any time in some of these football matches.
Save Bright and Bronze.
Yeah.
Bright's gone off. The point stands. Here's Umpomay. Chance going to come down the right hand side now. Lawrence. Back to Umpomay. Now Bronze. And that's a direct ball.
Ooh.
Now runs through to Shayanez.
What are Palace's last 3 games?
Lucy Bronze just won Fans Player of the Year award.
From the
I'm
pitch.
not sure how she's going to collect it.
Why would you do, to be fair, actually no, I can't get annoyed because I'm guessing the award night and the ceremony day would have been set up before these games were rearranged.
But why didn't they tell anyone that they were doing this?
Yeah.
And why are they doing an award show in April?
We'd have gone as
so
like
many
our,
questions.
VIPs or press
No,
members.
unless it's in Birmingham. Yeah.
Yes.
Birmingham catching strays this evening for no real reason.
No. I'm sure it's loads
There's
of lovely
worse
people.
places out there.
Oh, 100%. The Bermuda Triangle.
We're not naming them. But what was Palace's last 3 games of the season?
Yeah.
Man City, isn't it, next?
Wow.
No, I'm joking. I'm not sure.
The ball is kicking up a lot of water. I mean, it did rain today, didn't it?
West Ham, Leicester, Man City. I'm too wrong. But yeah,
That's a pretty winnable. I thought they were going to struggle at a pretty winnable game.
win them all. That'll be fine.
No, I think they could genuinely lose all 3 of them, which would be disappointing for them. I think they'd like to get to double digits, but credit to the Crystal Palace fans that have travelled down to King's Meadow. I mean, to be fair, it is London, so I would have expected maybe more than 8, but it is a midweek on a Wednesday.
And the team are
You've travelled across
unlikely
London
to win.
to play a game you knew you get battered in, and there's probably, I'd say,
They
10
did
of
get
them.
to weigh one shot.
They did.
I remember that. All 8 Palace fans there.
But credit to them, because that's brilliant support.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I love seeing those those loyal fans.
It's a shame there's not more support there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's not helped by the fact the men's team are also playing in London.
That is
If
true.
they weren't on site, you'd think that maybe some of them would pop along, or especially because even if you're not going to the Emirates to watch Crystal Palace, a lot of them will be watching the game on TV.
Yeah.
Because they really want to see them lose to Arsenal while playing. Both teams playing their second string sides. It's 2-1.
Oh.
Saka isn't playing for Arsenal.
That's good.
Captain in FPL. Eze scored though.
That's good.
Matessa's not playing.
Oh, a shame. Minutes ago, Chelsea. This was a champions' performance that is gonna be, and that will be their title in a win's time. They beat Man United and Arsenal drop points to Villa. They will be champions.
If not, it'll go another week. Here's Macario. Feeds it wide. Hamano. For Shell, can she get a shot away? Nope, it's denied. No, I'm pretty Guinness.
Yeah, Crystal Palace. I give credit to them because out of all the sides who have come up in the last few years, they've made the best go of it, and credit to them. But that just hasn't been enough. And that
Sonia's had enough of listening to Camille.
It's job done when the AirPods come off.
Yeah,
Van Bompastor.
Plus, this great stream. Cheers, lads. Thank you, Phil. 90s rave moves and pictures of Jens Lehmann's rear as he chainsaws his neighbour's head. I don't get that from other streams. That's our new bio.
Farrell Williams and Saturday on BBC.
That is full time here at Kings Meadow. Chelsea 4, Crystal Palace 0. Emphatic win for the Blues. They get back to winning ways after a crushing defeat to Barcelona. And now all attention turns to the reverse fixture as they welcome Barcelona to Stamford Bridge this Sunday. They need to keep up this level of goal scoring if they're going to get through to the Champions League final. It's going to be a tough ask, but we'll believe until it's impossible. So yeah, big
Well
win,
done, Chelsea.
good win. Got through it well. Palace didn't cover themselves in glory. It got harder once Swaby decided to get sent off. So Chelsea with a useful victory en route to the WSL title. Good to see some players coming back from injury. Good to see the likes of Germa, Fischel getting involved tonight. Guro Wrighton as well. Hermano coming off the bench. Nice to see them all involved. Other than that, that is everything. We're back tomorrow with our Chelsea-Barcelona tactical analysis, so join us for that. Then on Friday, we'll be previewing all the Champions League action ahead of this weekend's doubleheader on Sunday. Then on Sunday, unfortunately, no coverage of Chelsea-Barcelona as I'll be at the game and Harry is elsewhere. But Harry will be back for Arsenal-Lyon on Sunday evening, so join him for that. And I will be probably in chat if Chelsea have won. If they haven't, I'll probably be drinking on the Greater Anglia home.
Will not be doing that, by the way. Let's just clarify that.
Other than that, we'll be back with content throughout this week, and then Harry back on Sunday. That is everything. Thank you guys very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.